Hi Daybreakers! Welcome to today's stream. I anticipate that today we will have a pretty chill and peaceful gameplay. I have heard a lot of good things about this game, so I'm really looking forward to it. This is an interactive story with multiple endings, but contrary to my last few streams, this time I will only be doing one playthrough on stream, because this looks like it'll be an extremely customized experience with presumably no true or better endings. I would like my blind playthrough to be like my own personal canon as far as how my self-inserted character's life in this visual novel went. So of course, I will try to get all the achievements later in my own time off stream. But since this is a game that's really tailored to having a personalized experience, I will only be playing through it one time on stream for both the sake of plot immersion as well as stream time consumption, and I hope that's understandable. With that said, let's begin. New file. Ooh. Pretty animation. Would you like gameplay explanation sections to appear? Sure. Yes. Oh, okay, it's tutorial. Welcome to our life, beginnings and always. There are various ways you can customize and interact with the game. This tutorial is an overview of how certain features work. You can read the full tutorial from the main menu to learn about everything in detail. To start off, the game is divided into 4 time periods called steps. Step 1, childhood, Step 2, adolescence, Step 3, young adulthood, and Step 4, adulthood. Our life is further divided into sets of vignettes that take place during specific periods of time. Those are called moments. Moments can be played in any order or skipped entirely. You move on to the next step whenever you want by selecting that summer is ending. Steps 1 to 3 include 5 moments each, and even more can be unlocked by purchasing DLCs. Some are out now, and other DLCs will release later on. Step 4 is an epilogue and doesn't include moments. A lot happens over the years that go by, especially in regard to the character you play as. You determine nearly everything about the main character: name, appearance, personality, pronouns, interests, skills, the relationship with major characters, and so on. You can decide to change the details as time goes on, with a few exceptions. Your last name, skin tone, and eye color can't be altered when set. Much of the MC's basic traits are determined on a character creation screen. As the MC grows up, more options become available on the screen. Ooh. As mentioned, one of the decisions you'll get to make for a character is selecting a name. You can type in any name you like, or you can pick a present name, a preset name. Preset options are called voice names because the name will be voiced aloud by the romantic lead. You'll get to hear him say your name as you play through the story. Only the default name Jamie is included in the base game. Hundreds more can be added by getting a free voice name expansion DLC. The full collection of names is separated out as a DLC because of how large it is. If you're not interested in that feature, you don't need to get it. Each name the DLC belongs to or was selected by someone who supported this project. Oh, that's cool. On the character creation screen, there's a cute doll you can decorate to get an idea of what your MC looks like with the different traits put together. Not all the things you decide about the MC appear on the doll. The script referencing what you decide for the MC is the main way those decisions influence the game. Our life has a first-person perspective, so your character doesn't appear next to other character sprites. You only see the MC as a decorative doll and in special cut-in CG images. The cut-in CGs only appear as certain choices are made. It's possible not to see any during a playthrough. There's also a second type of special MC-based screen, the interest comfort screen. Unless you get DLC, the game has one love interest, Cove-Holden. He grows up with the MC, and the interest comfort screen is crucial for determining how that plays out. Interest level sets how much you like him. There are 4 levels: disinterest, fond, crush, and love. Love is only available starting in Step 3, and if you were at fond or crush in Step 2. Comfort determines how you generally react, when it comes to him. There are 3 levels: nervous, relaxed, and direct. Oh my god, I feel like I'm going to be nervous the entire time. Your level of interest and comfort will set the type of dynamic your character has with the love interest. What you did in the past will influence the present, and feelings can change over time. You get to pick your interest comfort near the beginning of every step. Comfort can switch between the 3 levels as you please. Your interest level can only stay the same, or increase. Your current level of interest will become the new lowest option on the screen in the future. For example, if you decide to be fond in step 1, this interest will not be available on the screen in steps 2 and 3, which will make fond the bond level option for your relationship. Interest level has an impact when it comes to physically interacting with Cove. While growing up, things are rather simple. If you get along with one another and have a close relationship, you can choose to touch him, and Cove will occasionally interact with the MC in lighthearted or comforting ways. Starting in step 3, touching can become more romantic or suggestive if you're at crush or love. To make sure things go nicely with that, there will be an extra choice to determine initiative level, and a bonus mini tutorial that goes along with the choice to explain the feature in more detail. Basically, even if you decide you like Cove, the game won't force you to act on those feelings. That's interesting. That's great. We have a choice! You can always choose not to get together with him, choose not to accept or give romantic gestures, etc. If you do decide to date Cove, though, you can't break up with him later. Interest comfort gets the basics down, but it's the choices that appear throughout the normal game events that decide what actually happens between the MC and Cove. And it isn't only the MC who is impacted by our decisions. Cove grows and changes over the years. How he's treated and what he experiences helps shape who he becomes. In Step 2 and Step 3, Cove's personality, appearance, and interests will vary based on what happened in the previous step. It's something of a mystery exactly how your decisions end up changing him. You can try to guess as you go along. Or if you prefer, you can also just design your own ideal Cove directly using the Cove Creator option that pops up at the beginning of steps 2 and 3. Making the choices you want is always more important than making a choice because you feel like you have to in order to get a certain result. When a choice does appear, usually you'll see that hovering the cursor over an option shows a certain color, yellow, blue, or green. The colors aren't related to specific points or effects, they're only there to give a bit of insight on the tone emotion of the choice, since text alone can potentially be read in more than one way. Oh, that's very thoughtful. Blue tends to be casual, straightforward, yellow more emotive, reactive, and green less certain, uncommitted. Though there are hundreds of options in our life, and not every choice menu falls in line with that pattern. Picking just one color every time doesn't give a gameplay benefit. Only stick to a certain type if that's what you happen to like, otherwise, switch between them freely. Always pick yellow. Never pick yellow. Pursue romance right from the start. Never romance a love interest. Be disagreeable or amiable. None of them will lead to a bad ending. Good to know. You're welcome to enjoy the events and shape the story without reservation, and then, if you like, you can play again to try something new. There's only ever more good content to discover. We hope you'll have a nice time of our life. Thank you for playing. Ooh, oh, right into it, okay. Alright, so, for the sake of being as immersive as possible, let's use Rosie. Yeah, Rosie Dewdrop, but totally not a cartoonish name. And we're using she this time, you know, to be immersive. Okay. Oh, wait, what face shape do I have? That's cute. What face shape do I have? Wait, let me pull up my PNG. Yeah, why not? Let's go with oval. Let's see. I'm not tan, I don't think. But am I pale? Peachy? Let's go with peachy just because I have some blush going on. I think. Eye shape. I'm so bad identifying my own features. Pointed, lidded, sloped. It looks like a few of them. The difference is the underlashes for a few of them. Wait, what is pointed? Oh, pointed. Looks like that. I guess we have a sharp eye shape? With underlashes? It looks like I have underlashes. Okay, I'll go with having underlashes. Eye color. Purple. 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 Yes, there's purple. I wonder what would make a child have purple eyes. Okay, let's choose our front hair. Oh. think this is pretty close, except it's the other way. Is there another option? Whoa, here's a lot of options. That's really cool. Maybe. Wait. Braids. There's a lot of... I can't even tell if I've already started over. Oh, there's two tones. There's two tones. Okay. That's cool, that's cool. I think this might be helpful for our do you call this a palette? Or our color palette. Okay. Pink? Yeah, let's go with the pink one. But like shorter front. This is this is a lot more detailed than I expected. Hair back. I wonder if they do have the little braid hairstyle option. Twin tails. There's one braid. There's the Elsa hairstyle, and then there's the twin braids. Alright. Straps. Hair, scrappy. That's cute. Pigtails. Alright, so we're back to the beginning. Well, I guess we can't, there's no option that has both the braid and long hair in the back, so yeah, let's go with this. You can barely see the little braid on me anyway. Yeah. Besides, this is childhood. This is childhood appearance. It's fine. Hair back. And hair front, hair color. Oh, okay. So I guess we should include the little purple strand and make the rest of our hair pink. Okay. That looks about right. That looks about right. Yeah, it's a spitting image. A spitting image. Alright. Oh, birthmarks. I don't have any, but it's cool to look around. Scars. Rosy cheeks. Well, should we include rosy cheeks? I do have blush. And my name is Rosie. Yeah, maybe not this time. Freckles. I do like freckles. I don't have them myself, but I don't have them myself in this mode, but I do like freckles. Aww. Hand size. Let's go with medium. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Ooh, glasses. Again, I don't have glasses in this mode, but they're cute. I mean, it makes the character cute. Oh, I'm just repeating it. Alright. We're going with no glasses. Next page. More birthmarks. Oh, I see. So we can't see it, but we can, I guess we can note where they have birthmarks. Interesting. And scars. I don't have any, at least not on these positions. Yeah. Clothing types. What do I usually wear? I usually wear pants, skirts. Okay, just all of them, I guess. Pants, skirts, dresses, shirts. Why not? Accessory types. I used to wear a watch all the time. I still have it, but it doesn't work anymore. So I just keep it for the sake of hoarding, I guess. I don't know. Bracelets, necklace. I don't wear hats. Not usually. Yeah, bracelets, necklaces. Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah! Am I happy with this? Are we happy with this? Am I happy with this? I think so. I think so. I think we're done. Yay! Now save. Okay. Summer in Sunset Bird was a special time of year. Your usually sleepy town began to bustle. It was a popular tourist destination, with people coming from all over to enjoy the beach, the weather, and the relaxation that came with both. The smell of the ocean, crisp and salty, hung in the air, bringing 3 whole months of schoolless vacation with it. During the summer, your moms didn't like you to wander too far outside your neighborhood, so you know the area pretty well. That included the people. Families came and went from Sunset Bird, but they mostly stayed and did what your mom called putting down roots. They built businesses, they got to know each other, and they definitely said hello to the nice young kids who waved when passing their stores. Going for a walk around town mostly meant that the familiar, friendly residents waved or asked how your family was, or most often, just said hello. You didn't really get why they— oh, radio choice, okay. You didn't really get why they always had to say hi. You ended up saying hi to a lot of different people. You were too anxious to say hi back. Yeah, definitely the third one. You're too anxious to say hi back to most of the other residents that greeted you, but they all knew you well enough to expect that. I wish. They still smiled at you anyway, and that made you feel a little more comfortable. We're gonna save again. Very soon. Very soon into the story. But today there was a man sitting on the curb outside your house. Not creepy at all. He was sitting with his head in his hands, his whole body slumped over, and you wondered if he was even a real person, or a statue that had magically sprung up from the ground overnight. Whoever or whatever he was, you had never seen him before. One thing about knowing everyone in Sunset Bird was that people who you don't recognize really stood out. It was rare for tourists to venture into the residential district, as your mom calls it. So, for you, not knowing who a total stranger was set off a lot of red flags. Your mom's had a talk with you and your big sister Lizzie about this kind of situation before. Yeah, I think it'd be okay to talk to new people. They mentioned no way. They mentioned that some people aren't good to talk to, but other types of people can help you if you don't know them. You remember that it's okay to run away if you feel uncomfortable. You don't have to worry about being polite then. Let me see. Let me think. Realistically, what have I heard from my parents and my older sibling before? Yeah, closer to the third one. They mostly warned me about running away, to be honest. Like, I haven't, I mean, I do listen, so not the first one, and they haven't said this before, so I think we're going with the third one this time. Usually not that worried about being polite, though. At least not that age. You weren't sure about this man yet. Still feel a bit scary knowing that he was blocking the way to your front door. That is scary. But you were pretty interested. You wanted to know more about what was going on. Whether he was nice or not, you didn't want to be bothered. Well, there's curiosity. There's definitely curiosity going on, but fear overpowers it. Still, you felt a bit scary knowing that I was walking the way to your front door. You slowed down, your mind racing for ideas on how to get past him unseen, but it was too late to escape. There was a split second where your eyes met, and you took in a shaky breath, your eyes darting to the sky, pretending to stare at a bird who was hovering nearby. Hey! His voice startled you and made you jump, but still you didn't look at him. The bird landed on top of a nearby gatepost and its black feathers ruffled against the gentle breeze. Trying to keep your eyes on it was tough, especially when the man stood up and started to make his way towards you. Oh man, not wanting to see him totally fold arms and stare. Yeah, because that doesn't— oh, I see, not wanting to seem too approachable. Still unsure about him, but willing to be friendly. Nope, your whole body was frozen in place as he approached. Yeah, tough call between 1 or 3. Would I freeze? I think— well, I do have a resting bitch face, so I think it would be closer to the first, even though I don't intend to. Like, I guess it would be— I would present myself closer to the first choice. Not wanting to seem too approachable, you folded your arms and stared. Am I saving too often? So... Do you live around here? What's your name? Feel like danger, danger. Oh, but he has a really cool ray tattoo. You look the man up and down, taking in his tan skin and relaxed appearance. At least his clothes were relaxed, the way he was acting wasn't. He had sharks on his shorts and a stingray tattoo, and you wondered if he was obsessed with the ocean or something. While you made your assessment, he looked at you expectantly, waiting for an answer to his question. I will continue to say nothing, thank you very much, goodbye. If you do, he rubbed the back of his neck uncomfortably, giving you a small smile. What the... Are you trying to bribe me? He reached into his pocket and pulled out a clean $20 bill. It crinkled in his hand as he held it up to you. Even more confused than before, you looked back at him.
Well...
Oh, that scared me. Could you do me a favor? Nothing bad, sorry, I should have... Let me start over. He cleared his throat and stood up straighter. From where you were standing, it just made him look creepier. Thank you. I have a son, his name is Cove, who's about your age. Cove, that seemed like a strange name for an actual living person to you. It chewed on the inside of your cheek. This guy was definitely obsessed with water. He thought that was pretty cool. Let me think. All of these apply. I don't think I would think so. I would think of the first option. I don't think so. Chewed on the inside of your cheek. Doesn't obsessed with water. You thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, let's go with the judgmental choice. You chewed on the inside of your cheek. This guy is definitely obsessed with water. He does look cute, yeah. He wasn't the only person like that in Sunset Bird. Really? We moved in across the street, see? He gestured toward the house that had been empty for a year, his watch catching the late afternoon sunlight and reflecting off the walls. The gigantic for sale sign was finally gone. You must be Rosie Dewdrop, right? I met your moms earlier and they told me you were 8, just like him, so... He shook the $20 bills. To bring it back to your attention. A hopeful smile tilting his lips at a corner. He's really bribing a child. Can you try to be friends with a $20 bill too? Can you try to be friends with the boy? Just give it a chance. You can keep this. He's a good kid. You'll like him.
Do you mind?
But you've got to keep it a secret too, okay? It wouldn't be friendly to say his dad sent you. I kind of feel sorry for him. I do. At this point. Did our kids really get their parents to pay for friendship? Well, both the first and second option. What is my, which one do I prioritize? I the man, you kind of felt sorry for Cove. I mean, I the man because I kind of felt sorry for Cove. Alright, mostly you kind of felt sorry for Cove, maybe? This definitely wasn't the normal way kids made friends. You knew that. It's not. What do you say? Want to make a deal? Run away! Run away! Run away! You spun around and made a break for it. No thanks, old man. Well, I'm thinking stranger danger, but I don't think I'll say it, so you don't offer any explanation, you just focus on getting away. You turn on the spot and bolted down the street, ignoring his calls from behind you. Come back, I'm sorry if I scared you. I didn't know how else to act. So you just decide to shake a $20 bill in front of an 8-year-old. The soles of your shoes slapped against the concrete sidewalk as you ran. Heat from the sun warm on your face. First sight. Step 1, and we've entered step 1. Eventually his shouting faded into the distance. You let yourself slow down, try to catch your breath, wiping the sweat from your forehead with the back of your hand. The chirping of crickets in tall, dry grass echoed around you, and you lifted your head to survey your surroundings. You'd run right into the hills behind your house's backyard. From here, you could probably get back inside without seeing the guy again. There was a loose plank on the back fence, too small to fit through, but you could try waving to Lizzie for help. The fence is pretty high, but if you still on the neighbor's shore fence post first, you might be able to pull yourself over. You'll be able to hide here until you left, then you go through the front door. I would try to hide, but I mean, if there's other options that I have. There is a loose plank on the back, too small to fit through. You could try waving to Lizzie for help. The fence is pretty high, but you're still on the neighbor's shore fence post first. You might be able to pull yourself over. We will try to get over by ourselves. Your moms wouldn't want you doing something like that, but it was an emergency. You took in a deep breath. You wanted to try to relax and couldn't. You weren't sure what, but something told you that you weren't alone, so you glanced around. Oh boy. Oh! There was a voice sitting at the top of one hill, almost completely hidden. Oh, it blinks! Almost completely hidden within the long grass and a white flower surrounding him. His head was buried in his knees, staring ahead by himself. For whatever reason, probably just that he wasn't paying attention, he hadn't noticed you yet. You watched him a minute longer, feeling a little bit like you'd found a deer in the wild. Though deer didn't have... It's funny how they point out he had green hair. Wavy eyebrows, huge glasses, pink cast saffron. So none of these, but what do we notice first? What would I notice first? Oh, green hair, I guess? But this new boy did. We will save. You watch as it flutters softly around his face in the breeze. After a few more seconds, he took a step forward, then another. And then he glanced your way. His aquamarine eyes reflected the light of the moon. You stopped, raising a hand to acknowledge him and show you weren't scary. Space cadet! Hi. With a start, he jumped to his feet, his hands balling into fists at his sides. He didn't say anything, just stared at you in a strange way. He'd been crying. There were traces of tears on his cheeks and his knees, soaking the hem of his shorts, and his eyes were still shining with a few more. Aw, you'd obviously caught him off guard. No kidding, he was your age, but he didn't look familiar. Maybe he was the boy that weird new neighbor had been talking about before you ran. The only way to actually know was to ask. I will wait. He sniffed a little, rubbing at his ruddy cheeks before he finally spoke. My name's Ko. You could see him hesitate, shifting his eyes to the side, and then back to you again. My dad and me, we moved here. Your guess was confirmed. So, is this your hill? I know, I like his green hair too. Even though it's green. He gestured with his uninjured arm to the patch of grass surrounding you, his face falling at the prospect. I can leave it if it is. Yep! You can't own a hill. Why not? Why does he look kind of judgmental right now? How could you? You just do. I had a hill. Oh, I see. I had a hill back home. Well, this still isn't mine. Oh. He sat back down with a thump, resting his chin on his knees again. Curious about the strange new boy with the odd dad, he sat on the patch of grass next to him. The pure white flowers that covered this hill rocked back and forth gently as the stars twinkled above. The way they dotted the sky made them seem like flowers, too. The night wind was cool as it traveled over the ocean up the hill, chasing away the heat from the afternoon sun. Why are you here? Why'd your family move? Well, why are you here? A quiet hiccup escaped Cove as soon as you asked the question. Almost like they never stopped. Aw, his tears started up again with a vengeance. Look what you did, Rosie. Never ask questions, just kidding. My parents, they don't want to live together with me anymore. Aw. The tears fell fast and heavy over his flushed cheeks, sticking in his dark lashes. My mom made my dad leave, and he took me with him, and now we have a house here, and I want to go home. The outburst took you off guard. By the time he was done wailing, Cove's chest was heaving with exhaustion. He sniffled and removed his glasses, wiping his eyes at the back of his hand before he put them back on again. I hate this place. I want my real life back. You just got here. I want my mom. The last one, though. Stop crying. Well, the second one kind of sounds like one of those, oh, don't worry, kind of, you know, like when someone's worrying and you're like, don't worry so much or whatever kind of tone. So I'm gonna go with I'm sorry. He slipped his hands underneath his glasses and pressed his fingers against his eyelids. Cove wound himself up again for another long crying fit. He felt bad for him, being forced to come here with no choice. He couldn't imagine what it would feel like to live with only one of your moms, but it must be pretty hard. But from way off in the distance, you heard your parents. Rosie!
Cove?
Cove. Kids, where'd you go? Cove looked at you, tears still clinging to his cheeks. Don't tell him we're here.
I want to go home.
Well... there's a lot more options than I expected. Do you have to go? Don't worry so much. Sorry, I have to... Oh, all of these sound pretty insensitive. Oh no. What is the least insensitive one? You have to go. Don't worry so much. Sorry, I have to. Okay, it's not you, it's me. Sorry, I have to. Stretching as you stood, you tilt your head back down to look at Cove. I can't lie to my moms about where you are, you know. And they're gonna tell him. Slowly, Cove stood up with you, still looking a little reluctant. His dad's voice rang out again. Cove, can you hear me? He looked toward the sound of his dad's voice, silent, then turned away while rubbing his not-bandaged arm.
Sorry.
I still want to go. Let's wait silently with him. Yeah, I get it. You do? The way his eyebrow arched before he could answer, you heard Cove's dad even closer than before. Man, this guy just really feels like a horror character, doesn't he? There you are, bud. The trio of parents appeared over the curve of the hill. Instantly, all their eyes landed on you, and they rushed over. Both of your moms were at your side in a split-second, faces filled with worry. I feel like I have the same blouse. Rosie, you're here after all. We have been at the park to check for Cove and then heard what happened earlier when you met the new neighbor. I thought you might have gone off further away. No, we were just sitting in the grass. Pretty much. Thank God you're both fine. Were you two having fun out here? He looked over at Cove, who was wiggling against his dad's tight hug and pushing at his arms. Not the last one. Yeah, sure. Yes, I like him. You nod, smiling slightly. Finally letting go of his squirming, scowling son, Cove's dad turned to the three of you.
That's a relief.
Thanks very much for finding him. I really don't know his neighborhood. Good thing Rosie knows this whole area so well. Absolutely, we should be getting home now. It's been a long day for us all. Say goodbye, Cove.
Bye.
Aww, so cute. The two of them walked off into the darkness, heading toward the neighborhood. You watched Cove's bright pink cast until it disappeared. Tell you what, we'll have a proper playdate tomorrow, okay? Your new friend's dad wanted to bring him by to see you and Lizzie. How does that sound? It sounds like words. Sure, I can show him my stuff. Of course. Then okay. Both of your moms laughed, the sounds overlapping into a warm, familiar chorus. Mommy put her arm around your shoulder and led you toward the path. Satisfied and more than a little ready to go to bed after your long, exciting day, you followed them home. Choosing your feelings for Cove. This is how you feel towards Cove for this step. It can change in later steps. Huh? Oh, do I choose? Oh, okay. Wait, I choose? Aw. Oh, I thought it would be, like, developed or something, but... comfort? My comfort level at this point would probably still be nervous. Well, not indifferent bond, maybe, but not to crush yet. Alright, we're ready. You won't be able to change it again until step 2. A nervous fondness. Yeah, that sounds about right. Nervous fondness. At the breakfast. Oh, oops. I almost forgot to say. Oh. Okay. At the breakfast table the next morning, you finished your food faster than usual. That's a really big house for what, a family of 4. I mean, that's a really big living room. Your sister Lizzie had run out earlier to go play, but you stayed put. Today, just like your moms had promised, Cove was coming over to hang out. Hang out. Excited to see your new friend again, Rosie? You nod, smiling slightly.
How sweet.
I'm so happy he moved in. Okay. With that said, are you done for breakfast? Yeah! Why is it italicized? I didn't know, am I? Oh man. Your bowl was entirely empty, so you nodded. Yeah. I guess. With all the exasperation, I see. Yeah, okay, that sounds about right. With all the exasperation 8-year-old can muster, you looked at your empty cereal bowl, then at Mom.
Okay.
Good job, he should be here soon. Cleanup began, then on cue, there was a knock. It was hesitant, like the person wasn't sure they were in the right place. Still out, though. We need to get a more obvious doorbell. I know. Rosie, could you get? Wiggling out of your chair, without really pushing it back, you made your way to the door. Hey, Dewdrop family. It sounds so cartoony, I can't. Thanks for having us. Mr. Holden, as your moms have called him, and his son were here. Cove looked different in the bright lighting of your living room. And you mean the shade of green is different, or what? And when he wasn't crying. With his dad standing in front of him and mommy behind you, you and Cove looked at each other. Pleased to see your new friend again, you smiled at Cove. He smiled back with some hesitation. Twisted crystal. Oh, I guess it's just a difference of bracelets. I see. Okay, which one would I most likely have? Flower bead crystal. Flower bead bracelet. Do you want to see my room?
Okay.
So cute.
Take care.
Have fun, kids.
See you.
You led him to your room, puffing out your chest a little bit at the sight of your treasures. There are lots of stuffed animals. That's accurate. A cool bed, a window to look out. It was a great room. You hadn't had anyone to show it to in a while, but you were really proud of it. Save so I don't have to look at the cool room again. He leaned in a little closer to one of your drawings on the wall. I like this. I don't! No, that legit sounds like something I would respond to. But I don't know if I would do that to someone I just met yesterday. That sounds kind of mean if now that I think about it, even though it's just self-deprecating. Thank you. You're welcome. You smiled at him. You were proud of that particular piece of art. Sure, okay. And you were glad he noticed it. He turned to look around the room a little more, studying the books on her desk and the pictures on the walls. You hoped he liked your room. You had put a lot of effort into making your room as nice as it was. You hoped he didn't say anything bad about it. Then his eyes land on the tiny box of beach things you collected, tucked away by your door. I used to have those, yeah. He took a step towards it, before hesitating and pointing at it instead. What is that? The horror stuff I found on the beach.
Oh.
Dragging the box into the middle of the room, you and Co flopped down next to it. Yeah. You gestured to a piece at the bottom, still covered with specks of sand.
Neat.
You got the sense from the tone of his voice that he wasn't just saying it to be nice, or to be like Shiloh. He actually He actually meant it. Shiloh is coming over. Shiloh, my sister's friend. He wants to meet you. Do I have to see it? Mood. It'll be okay, I think. Here, I found this shell in a log, and you pulled out seashell after seashell, explaining where you got in each one and holding them up against the light. There were big ones, small ones, pink, purple, and orange. Most of them you washed off in the bathroom sink when you brought them home, cleaning off the sand. Over the past few years, you'd even learned some of their scientific names. Nope, the collection was so huge and varied that you had lots of funny stories to tell for all of them. Your voice faltered a little bit, but you kept going as best. Oh, definitely the third one, definitely. You were really proud of your shell collection, and it made you happy that Cove was interested in it too. Apparently fascinated either by the stories or by the shells themselves, Cove listened with what looked like the full force of his attention. It was a new experience to be a center of such dedicated focus. But Cove had been mean to you, so you didn't mind. You smiled at him every now and then, while showing him your collection. Kids, come down to the living room. You could tell the idea was making him unhappy, but Mommy wasn't giving you much of a chance to hang around. Cove hadn't been like this meeting you. You guessed it was because you found each other by accident, and a parent didn't make it happen. Mr. Holden must be right that telling Cove his dad was part of that would be a bad idea. Before you knew it, you'd both been escorted downstairs and deposited in the living room, ready for Shiloh's visit. Hi, Susu! Sorry, I just went back to save for really quick. The two of you sat side by side on the floor of your home's entryway. Oh, he's so cute. Right, okay, but be careful. Okay, but be careful. Great! You should have asked. That's so mean. That's so mean. Great! Yeah, great. Busted open. We can keep looking while we wait for Shiloh. Oh, thank God. I thought I was being sarcastic for a second. Cole reached in and pulled out a big orange shell. Oh. Like he hadn't spoken aloud yet, he turned to you and held it up, his eyes shining. I think this one is the best of them. You can take it. Nah. That's my favorite too. Maybe. Orange shell. Maybe. Ko smiled at you and you both admired the shell together. It was a giant conch with shades of dark and light orange. If you held it to your ear, you could practically hear the ocean. I found that one last summer when you went to the beach on a picnic. The two of you were still sitting on the floor looking through a collection of beach finds when the doorbell finally rang. Ko jumped, startled by the sound. Since the person hadn't knocked, you figured it was probably Shiloh. He knew where to look for that. Was he his friend? You nodded, but that didn't seem to make Ko feel better. It was already obvious that Ko didn't hide his feelings well. He could tell what he was thinking right away. This isn't a good idea. I'm sorry, there's nowhere to go. He's at our only door. If you go upstairs, he'll find you. Ko glanced around the room, his eyes wide, and finally paused with his gaze locked onto the back of the house. I can go out. I knew it! I can go out the window. He was already walking towards it. Scrambling to think of something to say, you stepped forward, then paused. Oh, that's a lot of options. Do you want to break your other arm? Shiloh's the least scary person alive. I don't know. Sure, if Shiloh's gonna like you, please don't get hurt. I'll come with you. Good idea! Let's go! I'll come with you. Hurry, let's see where we're going. He glanced back at you, then nodded. The two of you made your way to the window together. Oh no, this is not going to end well, is it? It wasn't much of a distance to climb. Oh, never mind. Haha, you're fine. We survived. But by the time you landed gently in the bushes, you looked up to see Ko was already taking off away from the house. He was not that bad. The difference between these two. He was not that fast, but neither were you. At that speed, you weren't sure if you could get to go fast enough to reach him. I was pretty fast as a kid, I think. So, we're 8 right now. Okay, so, yeah, he was fast, but you knew you could outrun him if you had to, probably, maybe. I don't know. The few things I was confident in. You ran as fast as your legs would take you, grass whipping around your ankles as you did so. Cautiously, Ko slowed to a halt and looked back at you. Where are you going? I don't know, somewhere else. I just don't want to see. Rosie! You looked back and saw Shiloh huffing down the hill after you. I'm sorry, I don't know if it's Shiloh or Shiloh. The backpack he clutched bouncing all around, but we're gonna commit to Shiloh now. What are you doing? Can I come? He must have seen him leaving out the window and followed behind.
Hi!
Aww.
Yeah.
Aww. I'm Hsialu. Okay. Okay. Yep, are we going back or are we gonna play outside? Hsialu's eyes moved between you and Cove. The smile remained strong on his face. He got a tiny frown from Cove in response. You were just grateful he hadn't asked why you had been running away. Inside, we left the box on the floor. Yeah, I want to check. I hope Mommy didn't move them.
Okay.
With Hsialu trailing behind, yeah, this is a long story. With Hsialu trailing behind, you and Cove headed back toward the house. I'm pretty sure we won't even finish this today. Yeah, we might have to cut this up into multiple streams. The plan for the afternoon, at least as far as you were concerned, was to sit and look at the beach thing some more. You weren't really in the mood to do much of anything else, especially if Cove was having fun. You held out a recent find to Cove, a scab shell that had washed up on shore. It's a pretty color, kinda like my cast. The beautiful glittering pink did look a little bit like the wrap around his arm. Pink is a nice color. It is! Thank you. Okay.
Oh?
It's my favorite. Not really. What is? Maybe green or blue. It might be yellow. Oh, those are all cool.
I guess.
I like those colors
Awesome.
too. Both of them smiled. Like usual, it didn't take long for Hsialu to get fidgety. Lizzie was his favorite. Without her around, Hsialu didn't seem to know what to do with himself. Where is Lizzie? And Ko wasn't like her sister. He wasn't that much like you either. It's almost like we're different people. Is Lizzie coming back? Don't know. Where'd she go? I think she's at the beach, probably. Is she playing at her park? Ko's eyes lit up at the mention of the park, and he looked towards you. There's a park. Yep, but it's old. Can you show me? I want to go. He started getting up before he had even answered, and Hsialu jumped up beside him in excitement. Really? You do too, right, Rosie? The park is fun. The park is pretty great. But no, though. No. No. Yeah, it's right at the beach, so there's lots of fun stuff to do and lots of sand. It has a jungle gym and a bunch of swings. That sounds like it could be cool. So, are we going to find Lizzie? I don't know, I never really wanted to see her. I just want to check the park out. Adrift without any direction, Hsialu finally turned to you. Okay. He perked up. Both boys wanted to go. It was only fair. After getting permission from your moms, the three of you were ready to head out. It was a short walk to the park. Lizzie had convinced her moms that it was so short she should always be allowed to walk there by herself. How much older is Lizzie? When you found her, she was hanging on the jungle gym, swaying back and forth. Hey, Lizzie! Her face lit up when she saw you, her big brown eyes going wide. Rosie! Hsialu! Hi! She dropped to the ground and landed with a soft thud in the sand. In a split second, Hsialu had abandoned you two and scrambled over to stand by her. You were used to being left out when it was just the three of you, but now Ko was here. You wondered if he would leave too. Who's that? It's Ko. He's new.
Hi.
Welcome to my park, Nova. Oh, I like her outfit. It's so cute. Nobody ever comes to play here, so this is where we get together. She gestured widely with her arms as if to present the area to the newcomer. Without interrupting Lizzie's speech, Ko whispered in your ear, quiet enough that the others wouldn't overhear. I thought kids couldn't own places like parks, or hills. You couldn't help but laugh a tiny bit. While Lizzie continued talking, you took the chance to kick off your shoes and wriggle your toes through the warm sand. Nice, huh? In this neighborhood, I'm the one who comes up with the ideas. You are?
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh. Lizzie is the oldest. By a lot. My mom said you're Rosie's age.
Yeah.
Thought so. I'm still the only one in this group with double digits. I see. What about other kids? Other kids? There aren't any. We're the only kids here, and Hsialu is just visiting from another place. Not even tourists really bring their kids here. This is the land of ancients. Be careful that the oldies don't try to steer your youth.
Oh.
After all that, just... oh... For a second, it looked like he might cry again. Oh! But something in his eyes shifted, and he looked back at Lizzie. What kind of old people? Like moms and dads or grandparents? Grandparents who don't have kids. They hate kids. Why? We haven't done anything. From my experience, yeah, they're really bad. But I'm sure not all of them. I mean, but fine. Only some of them don't like kids. Fine, let's be fair. Or whatever. You interjected quickly, hoping Lizzie wouldn't take things too far. Cove sniffled, his forehead creasing with worry. Lizzie was staring Cove down, but Cove wasn't even looking at her anymore. He didn't seem to care that she was there. He went into his own head. Hsialu was the next one to speak, completely unaware of the situation. I don't want to go to a new school. I don't want summer to end. Hsialu looked down to the dirt. He hasn't had much luck striking up conversations with Cove. Aww, I like summer vacation a lot too. All the building tension in the air suddenly vanished when Lizzie laughed. At Hsialu's discomfort at how weird she thought Cove was, at something else entirely. You didn't really know, but she laughed, face scrunching up.
Okay.
Welcome to Sunset Bird Cove. Take a seat, put up your feet, and get used to it. You offer him a small smile, and that, at least, looked to reassure him some. Aww. For the rest of the summer, Cove was always there. You saw him more often than Hsialu, and on some days when she was in a bad mood or busy, you even saw him more than Lizzie. Interesting. He became a staple for everyday life, the way sun and lunch and the beach were. During your first summer together, you really liked Cove. He was a fun person to play with, and he seemed to like playing with you too. Of course, that was only the start of things. Whoa, what is this? Oh, okay, moment select. Fireflies. Let's try fireflies. Sounds
Alright!
At this blunt declaration for her sister, you looked up from your macaroni and cheese dinner. Fireflies were a familiar sight over summer, coming out on warm nights to dance through the sky. Tonight was particularly balmy. You knew there were bound to be a ton of them around. Oh, you are you? You start eating faster. Yeah, why not? Let's start eating faster. A Grand Curd listener started to eat a bit faster, excited for what was to come. It seemed like you were too excited, however, as you started to choke and cough on your food from shoveling it down so quickly. Mommy reached over to pat you on the back, firmly helping to dislodge the noodles and enable you to breathe again. You took a big gulp of water from your glass, giving your mom a sheepish look. Oops. That's a good idea, Lizzie. Can we, Mrs. Dewdrop? Hsialu tapped his fork against the table excitedly, his face lighting up as he looked at Lizzie. It was unusual for Hsialu to still be here. Like always, his mom had to bring him over really early in the morning before her job started. But normally she would have picked him up by now. She called before dinner to let her moms know she'd be late. You didn't hear why. Probably more work things. You thought maybe getting to hang out with Hsialu for longer is what made Lizzie want to keep running around outside. Staying at home and watching TV was never an option for her with guests over. That's why you were pretty sure she'd get your moms to agree.
Well...
Lizzie gave Mom the best puppy dog eye she could, slowly spooning mac and cheese into her mouth while you waited there for their response.
There.
Your parents exchanged a look, then Mom eventually sighed and nodded back. Yes! Along with Lizzie's cheers, he threw her arms up in triumph, but waited until you finished chewing to say anything because he knew it was rude to talk with your mouth full.
Fine.
Duh!
The idea had only just been planned in your head, but already you could just picture all the glowing lights spread out in front of you like the fairies from the bedtime stories Mommy read sometimes. All too quickly, it became a race to see who would finish their food first. No choking at a dinner table now. That's right, if someone died, we had to cancel a Firefly trip after all. Mom said it like a joke, but you knew that they were both telling you kids to slow down. Hsialu did immediately. When you glanced at Lizzie, you saw her still eating faster than she should. Elizabeth.
Jeez.
A knock on the door interrupted Mom before she could, no doubt, scold her sister.
I'll get.
Your big sister jumped out of her seat and ran over to the door, pulling it open without even looking out the window to see who it was.
Huh?
Oh no. You shifted your seat to try and get a glimpse of the unexpected guest.
Hi.
Oops, sorry. Wait, can I go back? Log. Ah, okay. Good evening, Cove. Your mommy had already walked through the door by the time you managed to see past Hsialu's flappy hat. A big smile stretched across your face. When you lifted her hand and waved, Ko's pink cast went up to return it shortly after. It doesn't matter why he was there, it meant he could join you all in catching fireflies. Then for a few seconds, Ko said nothing. He only stood there and looked up at her mommy with a face almost like he was considering turning around and leaving. My dad told me to drop this off because I guess he borrowed it from you. Ko took a familiar screwdriver from out of his large side pocket. Eyes now dropped to the floor. We left ours back home when we moved. Great, thanks, bye!
Thank you.
Lizzie crossed her arms and lifted her chin. Ko shrugged, and Mom stood from the table too. I'll give her dad a call, let him know you got here alright. Ko shuffled fully inside, eyes remaining on the ground. Mommy closed the door behind
Hi.
him. Aww. Hsialu gave Ko a friendly smile while waving by holding up his hand and opening and closing his fingers. Ko nodded in response. You weren't sure what to say now. Usually, yeah. Cove, are you going to catch fireflies with us? You could see Lizzie eyeing you for mentioning the excursion to an outsider, but she'd get over it. You dragged your foot over the floor in front of you, feeling too shy to say anymore.
Yeah.
I've never caught one before. Me neither, I don't think. It's too bad he didn't have a chance before now. The fireflies weren't out when he first moved in, and there must not have been any where he used to live. We can't go until after dinner. After she pointed this out, Lizzie walked back to the table and took her seat. There wasn't much left on her plate. Since this is very true, you decided to finish up your own stuff as well. Ko stepped closer and eyed what was on the menu for her family's meal. Have you eaten yet? Yeah, my dad and I ate earlier. What did you have? Eggs. The clipped one-word answer seemed to discourage Hsialu from asking any more questions. Aww. His eyes slowly wandered back to the last scraps of food on his plate. Her phone call with Ko's dad must have ended because her mom came back into the room.
Okay.
Sure.
Fun.
As you polished off the meal, you hoped it would be too. The three of you all finished eating shortly after, and Lizzie led the way outside. Remember, don't stray too far. It's fine, Mom. Hsialu trailed so closely after Lizzie he was nearly stepping on her heels. Cove hesitated at the door. He smiled lightly at Cove, gesturing for him to follow. After a moment, he did.
Bye.
That's not ominous. The two of you were a good 10 or 15 feet behind Lizzie and Hsialu by the time you walked outside. You pushed the door shut behind you, watching their figures get further and further away.
Hurry up!
You started to run when you heard Lizzie's voice calling you, but paused when you saw Ko still walking at a relaxed pace. Let's walk with him. You fell behind, sliding up next to him and matching his stride. He noticed right away.
It's okay.
You smile and shake your head. Oh! Pretty. After a short while, the two of you reached a hill behind the house. The fireflies were out in full force, floating on the breeze, their gentle glow winking in and out and creating an almost magical effect. Lizzie had already climbed to the top. Hsialu was spinning in circles somewhere around the middle.
Wow.
Hsialu took a moment to come over and welcome the both of you to the hill. Hi guys, it's really great out, huh? See how many there are? Yeah. The firefly danced through the air, landing on Ko's sea green head. Oh, we can control whether Hsialu, yeah, we can control whether Hsialu giggles. This is an act of goddess king. You and Hsialu couldn't help but giggle. Sure, why not? Covering your mouth with a hand, the sounds escaped you, and Cove looked at you in confusion. What? He gestured to his head, and he reached up, making the firefly dart away. Ko jumped, then followed after the glow.
Oh!
Already? Okay. Shah ran to the highest point of the hill, making sure not to lose his hat or backpack along the way. You hummed as the group divided and conquered, shifting your gaze to dozens of other fireflies sailing around. The game was on. So we need to have, oh, never mind. There's the last option. I was gonna say, so we need to have a bandage. At least. Alright, you were good at not getting cuts or scratches, so you weren't too worried about that. Spotting one close by, you approached it with assassin-like stealth, crouching down to make yourself seem like less of a threat. Slowly dragging one foot in from the other, you crept up towards it, arms outstretched. You closed your hands around the little glowing orb, careful not to crush it. The firefly landed on her palm, almost docile, and you stared down at your prize in delight. Its tiny legs tickled your skin, and you giggled at the sensation. Cove kept up with his own target, but when he tried to grab it, his pink cast waved awkwardly through the air, foiling his efforts to clap his hands around the firefly. Cove watched it vanish into thin air with a dissatisfied expression on his face. I'm gonna make a joke about what happened, because I do that. You kinda looked like you were doing a weird dance. Cove rested the hand of his good arm on his hip. It's not funny. Aw, it kind of was. It kind of was. And instead of saying so, you brought the firefly closer so Cove could have a look. Cove narrowed his eyes, but you could see him fighting back a smile at the sight of it. He leaned closer, eyes widening a tad behind his glasses. Cove remained hypnotized by the little bug as he inched his hand closer to yours. Ultimately, he settled his fingers slightly over top of the ones you were holding open. It tingled. Or I'll stay very still for the sake of the firefly. You were so nervous you thought you stopped breathing, but no matter what, you didn't want to scare the shiny treasure. See? MC gets it. Oh, look! They actually have flower bead bracelets. The firefly, noticing the new connection, crawled up onto Cove's hand. He quietly gasped. It worked. Yeah, you got one. Cove's lips turned up into a slow smile, and his eyes shined brighter than the bug. Thanks, Rosie. With a laugh, he gave the palm of your hand a friendly smack, performing an awkward low five. Startled by the extreme movement, the tiny light disappeared before he could even blink. Your firefly was gone.
Sorry.
Let's forgive him. I mean, it's not a big deal. Look at all these other fireflies flying around. That's okay, I couldn't keep it forever. Yeah, that's true.
You're
too.
right.
Let's get another. Why don't we leave the poor things alone? Yeah, there we go. So I sit in the grass and watch. I think I'll look at everything instead. That's fun too. Okay. He poked the tip of his shoe into the soft dirt. I'll try to get something for you, then we can be even. With that, he made a run for it. He quietly took a seat among the flowers. The others were jumping and dashing all about. We saw how many times they succeeded and failed, how Hsialu almost tripped a couple times. It was a dramatic show, though around you was calm. The lights of the stars and fireflies surround you peacefully. It was a beautiful night. You laughed quietly to yourself as you watched the others, and Hsialu finally managed to catch a firefly between his small hands. His eyes lit up, and when he spread his fingers to take a peek at it, the bug escaped and flew off into the air. Oh, you watched as he pounced after it once more, but your eyes soon land on Cove, who had failed to catch a firefly yet. Let's cheer him on, I guess. Cove smiled and you gave him a thumbs up, watching intently to see what happened next. While Cove returned to hunting fireflies, you settled for laying back against the soft grass, watching the poppies swaying around you and the fireflies hovering against the vast sky. Rosie, you lifted your eyes to see Cove return to your side. His fist was carefully closed. He stretched it out to the front of your face. You noticed a small glow coming from in between his fingers. I got one for— I told you to leave them alone! Wow, what now? The hand disappeared up and over you. This. You could tell from how he moved in his face that there must be a firefly on top of your head now. You laughed, and it probably flew off, you thought. That made you laugh more. Thanks, Cove.
Come on!
The shouting caught you off guard. It had been quite a while since you heard from Lizzie or Hsialu. Man. You glanced over to see them both standing on top of the hill again. Lizzie beckoning to you with quick hand gestures. If she was like that, you knew there wasn't much room for disagreement. Up the incline you went. From the corner of your eye, you saw Cove was coming as well. He didn't care for Lizzie a lot, so you thought he might be intrigued just by the idea of a race. Hi.
Cove.
Could hurt your arm again, whatever. Oof. As Lizzie pointed this out, Cove froze in place. Oh, it was that kind of race. He frowned down his cast. That was the second time it gone away tonight. Aww. What?
I guess.
Wait, huh? I did not press I did not press next anyway. Yeah, you'll watch and see who gets to the bottom first. That's important, got it? The cast was sturdy. If he was careful, he could have done it. Lizzie might have just been looking for a reason to make someone else the referee, but it was already decided. I'll stay with Cove.
Really?
It's okay, I want to watch. Yeah, most of the time. You move beside him on top of the hill even though Lizzie eyed you and made a face. That's not how races work. We only need one referee. Shrugging her shoulders, you refused to budge, and Lizzie let out a huff before throwing her hands in the air. Fine, I'll be the winner, whether you join or not. I like how Hsialu just smiled before his sprite vanished. Lizzie moved to lay down, and Hsialu did the same, coasted slightly to the side to get a better vantage point, and you stood next to him. Count down. Ko stood up a little straighter. It seemed like he was taking his newfound referee duties seriously. 3, 2, 1, go! Lizzie and Hsialu took off, letting gravity do the work and rolling at high speed towards the bottom of the hill. You and Cove leaned forward to watch them go, eyes peeled for which of the two would reach the bottom first. They were both neck and neck, until about halfway down the hill, Lizzie started to veer off to the side, giving Hsialu a huge advantage. She obviously hadn't noticed a thing, and as soon as Hsialu reached the bottom of the hill, he jumped up excitedly and threw his hands in the air. I won! Almost immediately, he fell back onto the grass, still dizzy from his roll down the hill. Lily stomped out of the bush she had ended up in, spluttering angrily and brushing leaves from the front of her dress. Not bad, you got lucky. Let's do it again and see who wins for real. Kids, it's time to come in. No! You snickered, feeling grateful you had been a part of the many debacle. You caught Cove's eyes and saw he was doing the same. It had gone late and was beginning to feel just a bit chilly as you made your way out of the hills, but the cold in the air hadn't dampened anyone's spirits. The four of you walked back home together side by side, down your neighborhood street, discussing the evening with each person trying to prove that they were the one who caught the most fireflies. You knew that whoever really did catch the most didn't matter much anyway. All that mattered was that you all had a good time, which, judging by the smiles on everyone's faces, you did. Alright, that was really long. One moment is pretty long, so I mean, I know apparently even if you don't read the moments, it doesn't affect the process, I believe. It's just like bonus little scenes, I think. Yeah. So so for the sake of time, I think we should just move on now for now. And then summer ended. Wait, it does not impact it, right? Right. That made me nervous for a second. And then summer ended! Yeah, sure, why not? Alright. I'll never get tired of that view. You stood beside your moms, Lizzie and Cove, as the five of you watched the sun dip into the ocean somewhere far, far away. You like to imagine it cooling off in the water, resting itself before getting ready to shine brightly again tomorrow. That was a fun day. I didn't know they had magicians on the shopping street now. Neither did I. Oh no, we're so dull. Let's get out more. He didn't do real magic, Mom. How would you figure that one out?
Duh!
'Cause I know. That's not what real magic looks like. Oh my god. I can't decide if I like her or not. Oh, Lizzie dear, there's all kinds of magic in the world. Lizzie gave Mommy a suspicious look, but didn't dispute the claim. He looked over at Cove, who hadn't said a word since he started home. He didn't look upset though, just content. You're aware he still hadn't quite warmed up to your parents. Well, we can't sit out here all night. Time to hurry home and get cooking. Who's helping with dinner? Lizzie immediately let out a groan. Mom, summer's almost over. The protest was obvious. You could practically see school on the horizon. You certainly didn't want to spend your last bits of freedom cooking dinner. You could do that any other day. We have to keep playing before it's too late. Okay, let me put on my best puppy dog eyes, I guess. Oh, don't look at me like that. Like what? Saving. Soon we'll have homework and reading to do. We can't do work now, too. Lizzie made her case and then stomped her foot into the ground. You mimicked her, feeling that would add something to the argument. Well...
Now.
Oh, come on, Pam. I can help you with dinner. Mommy leaned in for a hug, and you knew that you were very close to victory.
Okay.
But as soon as dinner is ready, you lot are coming inside. Understood? Yes, Mom. Yes, Mom. Cove, dear, you're welcome to join us as well. He sent him a small smile, which she returned. Cove gave a non-committal shrug to your mommy, which you took as an agreement. So much to do, so little time. Maybe I could still get the seashell bracelet at Times and Trinkets. Ooh, or maybe the playground, or the fireflies will probably be coming out, right? You silently made your own plans. Lizzie had her own ideas of what she wanted to do, but what were you going to do? You glanced over to Cove, considering. A strong gust of wind made you shiver. Lizzie huffed as she wrapped her arms around herself.
Rude.
Doesn't the wind know that summer's not over yet? I mean, you are by the beach. That's all Lizzie said before abruptly turning on her heel and heading off in the direction of your mother's had gone to. Where are you going? I'm going to my room. I have lots to plan if I want to make the most of tomorrow. You thought this over. Looking out towards the water again, Lizzie didn't wait, and before long she was disappearing off down the road. Meanwhile, Cove was going in the opposite direction, heading for the beach. Let's stay with Cove. Cove gave you a smile that you couldn't help but return. He made a little gesture that you interpreted as follow me, and then started heading to the waves. Cove knelt down, picking up something you quickly identified as a smooth rock. He reared his arm back, then tossed it out into the water. The rock sunk kind of like a rock and fell back down. It was right after he tossed it. Oh no. That's funny though. The rock sunk kind of like a rock. It was a great toss. That was pretty neat. You looked for your own rock. Deciding to join Cove, you searched nearby for any rocks or shells that you could throw too. You found a shell that would suit your purposes, a smile growing as you tossed it as hard as you could. It landed with a wet-sounding thunk a few feet away and slipped down into the water. When you looked over at Cove, he didn't seem to notice that his throw had been more impressive. Cove was looking down his cast, scratching idly at the pink surface, even though you're pretty sure he couldn't feel it. His brows were furrowed, and there was a frown on his face.
It's not fair.
I've had to wear his cast for ages. I can't even swim. When do you get it off? Cove shrugged and didn't say anything. For a second you thought maybe he didn't know, but finally he sighed. A few weeks. That is a while away. You thought for something else to say, something positive, but words didn't come, as was usual for you. Cove allowed a huff, popping down to the sand. I can't believe summer's almost over. You sat down next to him and nodded in agreement, regardless of the sudden topic change. I don't want to go to school. I mean, I would. I don't want to go to a new school. I think it'll be the same school as you and Lizzie. My dad said something about that. Cool, you're going to like it. Everyone's super nice. You'd only ever been to the one school, but you were sure that his old school couldn't have been that much better. Then again, he did have to make new friends and meet new teachers. It could be kind of scary. She is a brat. Cove shook his hand. Cove shook his head, not his hand, and then wrapped his good arm around his knees as he drew him to his chest. You heard a sniffling sound, and when you took a good look at his face, you realized that his eyes were wet.
I want to go home.
I mean, aren't eyes supposed to be wet? I want to go home. You'd never had to move before, but you thought you could understand. If you had to go to a new school all of a sudden with all new people, you'd probably be dreading it too. Even though you sort of maybe understood, you still weren't sure how to help. Okay, I'll see you later. Cove gave his head a small shake. No, I want to go back home. Right. Cove wanted to go back to his old home, the one that sat waiting someplace far from here, the one he would bring up whenever he felt this sad. It had been a while since he had moved in, but he didn't seem to feel any better about being here. He settled back down to the sand, trying to consider what to This can be your home. Oh no, he started crying harder. It's a really nice home if you give it a chance. Cove didn't respond to that. He just tightened his arm around his knees, resting his chin on them. You're not going to leave, right? You'll still be around? Aww? The question was a little surprising. Oh, to be honest or to not be honest? I don't know. Probably, I think. You're pretty sure your moms would tell you if you were going to move, but the way Cove asked, so hesitant and vulnerable, made you feel a little uncertain to make a promise you might not keep. After a second, Cove gave a little nod. Once I get my cast off, we could go swimming. We were fine with him changing his subject again. Okay. You had to say swimming did sound fun, even if it was already getting chilly out. Cove smiled, then looked back to the waves. My dad keeps saying I'll get used to everything eventually, that I'd feel better then. He used to make me angry. I didn't want to get used to everything. He spared a glance over at Cove and saw the anger had slipped off his face, in favor of something almost puzzled. But maybe that would be okay after all, as long as I really do feel better. I can't see it. You could remember a long time ago when you first started going to school. You had absolutely not been okay with the idea of being away from your parents for most of the day, to listen to strangers tell you what to do, and sit with kids you never met before. Things changing is hard. I can? I'll make sure you do. No physical contact is preferred. I'll make sure you do. Oh! Cove laughed just a little, but he grinned, proud that you were able to drag one out of him when he was obviously feeling down. Even still, a second later his eyes got a little misty once more. You got the feeling that they were different tears than the ones from before, though. I hope next summer I'll surf and go exploring and everything will feel like it's supposed to again. You gave a little nod, resting your head on your own knees. The two of you sat quietly, just taking in the sounds of the waves. You hoped that Cove would be able to accept this place as his new home. You definitely tried to help in what ways you could. There were so many wonderful things here Cove probably hadn't even seen yet. Lost in thought, you started a bit when you heard a faint, familiar sound. The sound of your mom shouting your name. You looked over your shoulder, realizing it was probably time for dinner. Time had really gone by fast. You stood and dusted the sand off of yourself. My mom's calling. It's time for dinner. You should come. Cove looked up at you. Expression screaming reluctance, yet ultimately... Okay. When you smiled, Cove returned to one of his own. Rosie, thanks. It was nice where you were right then. The two of you couldn't stay there in your own little world any longer. You were being called forward. So the both of you ran out towards your house, leaving the waves and summer behind. In between. Oh, what happened? Wait. What did I miss? Huh? Oh, okay. It restarted itself for some reason. Okay. Are there any other options or what happened here? Do we get new options? Can't really tell. But I don't feel like changing our appearance right now though. So yeah. Oh, earrings. Oh, I see. Okay. We can add earrings, but we can't see them anyway. Whoops. Okay. We'll have no earrings. We'll have no earrings. Yeah. Too bad. I like earrings. Braces. Pickles. More pickles. Yeah, I think... Nah. Alright, we'll just stay the same. Relaxed? Okay, I think by now we are relaxed. And we are fond. We are fond. We are relaxed and fond. We don't get to be indifferent anymore, apparently. Yeah, I don't think we're quite at crush yet. They're 8. They were 8. So, yeah, let's do it. Begin step 2 at relaxed fondness. Yes, we will begin step 2 at relaxed fondness. Right? Or is it, wait, is this the last chance we get to like advance to crush? Oh, no, I don't like that. No, not direct relax. Oh, I see. I see the eyebrows change. Well, not that it matters. Not that it matters. It shouldn't impact our decision here. But is this the last chance we'll get to move the interest up to crush or what? Let's try crush. No, not the blush. Ugh! No, I want to see what happens though. I want to see what happens. Choose to customize Cove yourself or let prior experience determine it. Cove customization. No, I want to see what he becomes, what he becomes naturally. August ended, September began. It was time to go back to school. Lizzie groaned and complained the entire first week. She hated going to classes. Still, there were interesting things to do that couldn't be done anywhere else. You weren't sure how Cove felt about it. He was enrolled that year. That was like a sign Cove would be staying in the Sunset Bird for a while. At school, he was alright, but kept his distance from the other kids, from what you saw anyway. Whenever he could, Cove stuck to you like glue. He didn't even mind that much what you did to pass the time as long as it was together. Sometimes it was like things were exactly the same as when you had first met. But other times, as you got older, you couldn't ignore how the feelings had changed in meaningful ways. That year, the divorce of Cove's parents was finalized. You overheard your parents talking about, saying Cove's dad got full custody. At first, you worried that meant bad news. It made Mr. Holden cry, apparently. Aww. You found out it meant Cove would keep living with his dad. He would only stay with his mom a few weeks of the year. Cove cried too, for different reasons, you thought. It seemed like Cove and his dad might move again, but Mr. Holden decided to stay after all. Mom asked him about it once. He had said he didn't want to uproot Cove's life a second time. Mr. Holden tried to get Cove to like Sunset Bird more. He kept encouraging his son to go out and see the place. Sometimes Mr. Holden volunteered you to spend time with Cove. He seemed very confident that was an effective strategy. Cove never talked to anyone about what happened to his parents and withdrew whenever it was brought up. It was hard for him, yet nobody knew how to help. Eventually, Cove stopped crying on his own. You couldn't understand what had changed, but you hoped that you could help him feel better still, since even without the tears, he looked sad. Maybe one day he could say out loud what he felt inside. After that, it felt like things had gone back to normal, except what was normal didn't stay the same. Years passed, and suddenly you were in middle school. You weren't a kid anymore. You were 13 years old. That officially made you a teen, even if your sister didn't agree. Why not? Yeah, 13's a teen. A preteen, anyway. The toys and crayons that used to litter every free space in your room had been packed away somewhere, replaced by new hobbies. There were other changes, too. Cove's cast got taken off. No, the pink cast! It was weird to see him without it initially. Underneath the pink plaster ended up being a long, thin scar that snaked across his forearm. Cove's chest puffed out in pride when someone drew attention to it. He also went through a major growth spurt. He was the tallest student in his class for 2 years in a row. Cove will probably hold that spot again next time. In class, people knew him for more than just being tall. He also stood out because how well he did with school stuff overall. Over the years, he still remained familiar in a lot of ways. He talked to people when they came to him, but never really searched out company on his own. And the only kid that came to visit the neighborhood when you were little, Hsialu, well, he was gone. He and his mom moved back south because of her work, just 1 year after Cove came to Sunset Bird. It had been really upsetting when he left. Lizzie was inconsolable for weeks. But nobody talked about Hsialu anymore. What? It was a long time ago. I mean, it's realistic, but what? He learned some heartbreaking things, became less sad the further away they were, even if they had never gone any better. That was sad in its own way. Things at home were different too. He still lived in the same house and all that, but it wasn't how it was before. Ma dyed her hair purple, wanting something new, and liked it so much she kept dyeing it. You remember calling her mommy as a kid, but something like that seemed awkward nowadays. You were much too old for the word. Lizzie felt too mature for a nickname too. She insisted on everyone calling her Elizabeth, so you did. Your mom soon gave her permission to go places other than the playground and shopping street, which she took advantage of. You rarely saw her around the old neighborhood. In fact, she hardly spent time with you the way she did before. Elizabeth instead associated more and more with girls from school who were her own age. Maybe the difference between 13 and 15 was greater than the difference between 8 and 10. You started befriending new people yourself, like Derek Suarez. He didn't live in a neighborhood or go to the same school. What happened was, his and Ko's dad struck up a business partnership a few months ago. Since then, Derek would pop up in the area now and then. It seemed Mr. Suarez was happy to let Derek tag along to his work, if Derek had the time for it. Without a doubt, everyone had everything around you had changed, in small and big ways. You had too. As time went by, though, it was easy to settle into this new normal. Then before you knew it, school was over, and summer vacation had come again. It was the first day of summer vacation. The sun was as hot as ever, but you were inside and away from its harsh rays. To be more specific, you were... Well, I would be wide awake, but I wouldn't be heading out, so it's like half-half. I'd be in bed, but not sleeping in. Not really. Alright, you know, I would never go outside on my own accord, so snuggled up in bed, celebrating your time off by sleeping in, haha. Save. It was hot, but you still had the blanket up over your head to block out the sun. You didn't want intruding on your lazy morning. Unfortunately, you hadn't prepared for an intrusion. From beneath the blanket, you heard the door creak open. Oh. You're still sleeping? Wow. Get up. I would do this. You started to fake snore loudly. You didn't get out of bed and instead made some obnoxiously loud and totally phony sleeping sounds. It was pretty annoying, but she had borrowed you first. Ugh, not funny. Get up. Now. I will come over there. So much for a lazy morning. Your special boy is at the door, like he always is now. He brought some happy summer gift from Mr. Holden. Mom wants you to take it from him. Say thanks or whatever. You didn't like the way she called him your special boy, but you knew by now that saying so wouldn't stop her.
Come on.
I'll be there when I'm there. Elizabeth rolled her eyes and left, having done what was instructed of her. You rolled out of bed, stretching your arms up high and yawning. Time to get ready. You sat yourself in front of the mirror in the far corner of your room. Oh, no way. I wish. I have never experienced this before. Oh. Beautiful, pretty tall. Nope, it's skipping over all the tall options. Open real estate. Oh my god, you had trouble getting your reflection to appear in the mounted mirror frame. Okay, maybe not that short, or you know, if I were, I would have made the mirror shorter. I mean, not so high up, but yeah, okay, I'll choose this one. I'm pretty short. You could relate to Derek and how it felt to be smaller than people thought you ought to be. Your shortness seemed even more drastic when compared to Cove, who was unusually tall. That's cute, that's cute. Height difference. I don't think I have a height complex. I mean, I do get teased a lot for it, but... I mean, I don't think I would go as far as to say I'm self-conscious, so I'm kind of self-conscious over it. Not really, I think. Do I like my height? I don't have any issues with it, I guess. Sure, why not? I like my height. It's doing well in your mind. Then you put the finishing touches on her outfit while ruminating on the situation. Then you put the finishing touches on her outfit. Okay, right. Right, already said that. Careless as they had been, Elizabeth's words piqued your curiosity. You planned on going out to see what Cove was up to today, so this worked in your favor. It was when you saw your reflection that you realized you were smiling wide. You were looking forward to seeing him. You left your room, taking an easy time down the stairs. What does taking a hard time down the stairs look like? You saw Mom first, reclining on the couch. She held a magazine in her hands, which she was perusing through. Morning, Mom. She looked up at her greeting, a smile instantly appearing on her face.
Thanks.
Good morning, Rosie. Thank you for coming down. Ma's at the door of Cove. He can't stay over today, unfortunately. Why don't you go and thank him before he leaves? You nod and made her way to the front of the house. Just as she said, Ma was there making conversation. She must have heard you because she looked over her shoulder.
Oh?
Look who finally made it. Morning, sleepyhead. Ma reached forward and you knew she was about to pat you on the head. She was taller than average for an adult woman, so at your height, you were absolutely tiny in her eyes. Yes, I would. This happens to me daily. I would definitely tilt my body aside to dodge. Ma didn't bother trying to catch you. She simply smiled. You're the last one down today, you know that? Life isn't a race. I mean, she's right. I was gonna stay in longer, so you're welcome. Yes, thank you for gracing us all with your presence this fine day. With a small laugh, Ma stepped aside. Cove was just as he remembered, exactly how he came to know him to be. Aww. He leaned uncomfortably to the side in your doorway as his bushy hair covered part of his face. Aw, he's blushing! It's so cute! His features were pinched in embarrassment, and he shifted from one foot to another. He was holding what must be the much-talked-about gift. At first glance, you figured it must be a bouquet of flowers, and you gave it a real look. No, instead it was carefully cut fruit. Oh, that's cool. It made a lot of sense that it was actually from Cove's dad. You had to suppress a laugh at this showing. You could imagine many folks buying that sort of thing for their own personal enjoyment. What? It's cool! What kind of arrangement was built for the presentation, likely to impress whoever was inevitably going to receive it. It seemed no matter how long he lived there, Mr. Holden would keep going out of his way to be neighborly, and Ko would always be roped into participating. At the sight of you, Ko smiled, but there was some nervousness to it. Hey. He smiled back. You couldn't help thinking too when you first met Cove and how you became such good friends. Lately though, you were starting to have different feelings for him. Hey, it's nice to see you. His grip on the base of the gift tightened and your heartbeat sped up. Even if neither of you had spoken about it, both of you were aware something new was growing your relationship. Okay. It was already shaping up to be another long summer. The best part was that the two of you had plenty of time spent together and explore what was developing. His awkwardness over the task started to creep back in, so Cove nudged the gift closer to you. He was ready to be relieved of it. Your hands brushed over his just slightly when you took hold of the base. He flinched enough for you to know with certainty that he noticed it happened. You couldn't help but smile to yourself. Smile that he flinched, and with that the gift was accepted. This thing was only so pretty. This thing was definitely Dad's idea. I would have gone for something else. But if you can't eat it all, I wouldn't mind taking a couple skewers. He smiled, looking amusedly at the gift, then back to you. You call it that one. No, definitely not the third one. Let's keep that to ourselves. Thank you. Could you tell Dad we love the gift? Mr. Holden's behavior really was different from any neighbor you'd ever had. Though after 5 years, you were used to his antics, and you'd since made up your mind on what your opinion was. He was pretty weird. He was great. Though there were some things he didn't like about Mr. Holden, he didn't mind them and liked him quite a bit. Her thoughts were quickly interrupted by a shout. There you are! You share a confused look of Cove. As one, both of you stepped through the open door onto the neighborhood street. It didn't take long to locate the source of the noise. You spotted Derek just a few yards down the road. He ran up to you. You were displeased, Edison. That's mean. No, it feels wrong to not choose happy, but confused is possible. Like, okay, so are we feeling more happy or confused about it? Is the question. Why not happy? It's a friend. Cool. Derek was certainly a welcome guest in our neighborhood. It was a pleasant surprise whenever he showed up. After stopping, oh, he's so cute. After stopping a couple steps away, Derek hunched over to catch his breath. Then he looked up with a wide grin.
Hey.
The height difference. I was just at your house, Cove, when no one was there. Should have figured you'd be at Rosie's place. Do you ever spend time in your own home, or are you always just there? Derek laughed at his own joke. He either didn't notice that it embarrassed Cove, or the embarrassment was what he was actually laughing at. Derek turned to you. He was going to say more, then his eyes widened and he gasped. What's that? You followed his gaze, unsure. Then you realized what he meant. You were still holding Mr. Holden's gift. It's kind of like a bouquet of flowers, but made out of fruit. Yeah, it's really
Nice.
Cool. Nice. Can I have some? Sure, we can share. Derek grew more excited by your words, bouncing on the balls of his feet. I mean, it's fruit, I don't see why not. Then he nodded his head, as if to clear it. Anyway, that's right, I came here because I needed to say something big. He paused, possibly for effect. There's some other kid here in Sunset Bird. Cove was as surprised as you were by the news. Such a reaction made sense. No one around your age had moved here since Cove did 5 years ago. Were they with their family? Maybe they were cutting through. Nuh-uh, the new kid was all by himself, just walking. Did you talk to him?
Nope.
I came to report the sighting right away. The kid had green hair, glasses, was pretty small, and seemed really upset about something. I hope he didn't leave. You blinked. Slowly, you looked over to your longtime neighbor. That sounds a lot like you, Cove, when you first got here anyway. Oh, yeah, I guess that was me back then. Derek snickered good-naturedly. I can see that really well, now that you say so. But what do you say? I mean, there's not many people with green hair. Let's go find Cove's look-alike. We should all meet him.
Sure.
I'll do it. Sure, I want to see who this person is. Derek grinned, then he pointed down the street, the way he came. Last I saw him, the mystery visitor was going this direction. Nothing else needed to be said. The three of you were off, with Derek leading the way. Derek brought you to the beach, and as a trio, you made your way down the shore to the old playground. You walked the familiar path in a comfortable silence. When you were almost there, you spotted the kid in question. His bright colors almost shone like a beacon beneath the rays of the sun. He scuffled around, kicked up the sand as he paced. It was true, he certainly seemed upset, but you didn't think he was sad, like you had originally pictured. No, with his erratic movements and scrunched-up expression, he came off angry. You started to have doubts about this expedition. Maybe it'd be better if you left him alone, let him sort himself out. You share a look of Cove. He was equally reluctant to start a conversation. Derek didn't feel the same. He waved wildly, calling out to the boy. Hey, guy, over here! He has a watermelon head. The kid whipped around, an impressive scowl carving deeper onto his face. His eyes were tired, but a strong, hostile energy still radiated from him.
What?
Oh, he has a really deep voice for a kid that age. The sharp tone made Derek flinch. He shifted on us. Oh, I guess they're 13. That's possible. Oh, what's her name? Jeremy. Was that it?
No.
I'm Derek. That's Rosie and Cove. We were just walking around and saw you. We wanted to say hi. There aren't a lot of kids our age in the neighborhood. Yeah, so, you know, it's cool to see someone else here. Strangely, Jeremy grew furious by your response. If steam could erupt from a person's ears, it would have happened then. They did bring me somewhere stupid. Of course, I knew it. What?
My parents.
They're the ones who brought me. I didn't walk to this town. I sure hope not. Can you not figure that out on your own?
Right.
My dad brings me a sunset bird too, when he has to come for work and all that stuff. It's not bad. That earned him a glare from Jeremy. Derek winced beneath it, glancing away. It was a struggle to remain friendly with this Jeremy guy. I mean, I wouldn't want to come here for a real vacation, probably, either. That's an understatement. This doesn't count as a vacation. It's a waste of time, a chore. My parents' family is nearby, and we just had to come see them. Ugh. If they're your parents' family, doesn't that make them your family, too?
I guess.
That's a pretty good reason to come by. Did you want to go somewhere else? No! Folded and all that. Jeremy crossed his arms with a huff. He turned away. They should have gone by themselves, since they care so much and left me home. But I'm not allowed to be by myself. It makes no sense. They're the ones who didn't know how to do anything, and I'm the kid? We just said you, Who peed in your cereal this morning? Yeah, I'm leaning towards either keeping quiet or we just said hello, you don't have to keep complaining at us. Which both happen to be blue options, so. Alright, we just said hello, you don't have to keep complaining to us. Wow! Why did you decide to talk to me, huh? Did I ask for that? No! Did I want you to come over and start flapping your gums at me about dumb stuff? No! Now you're gonna whine that this isn't what you wanted? Too bad, it's not my job to care. You turned to Cove, lowering your voice. The two of you aren't that similar after all. Jerry must have had good hearing though, because he caught the private exchange and scoffed.
Stupid.
Cove's cheeks flushed crimson at the insult. Aw, you couldn't be sure if it was out of embarrassment or anger. Maybe both. Come on. How can you say that when you've got a boy? Do we keep insulting him? Yeah, I don't think there's any point asking for an apology. How can you say that when you've got a boy? I want to say this so badly. Yeah, sure. How can you say that when you've got a bowl cut? Yep, it's embarrassing and awful, but my parents made me. I won't have to have it when I'm older. I don't know what he's gonna do with those things, except maybe shave them off. He probably should. I bet he'd look less dumb with no eyebrows. I like how this has an exclamation mark on it. Let's roll our eyes. His behavior was unbelievably childish. You bet this is what Elizabeth imagines she's dealing with whenever you do anything. But with Jeremy, he really is like a kid. Maybe because he is. Wow, what is wrong with you? Instead of taking offense, Jeremy only parroted Derek's words in a nasally voice.
Wow, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, like that. This is dumb. Jeremy stuck out his tongue and skulked away, throwing more sand everywhere as he went. You watched him go, hunched over until he became a speck in your vision. Silence reigned in his wake. The three of you tried to process what just happened. I can't believe it. What a mean kid. Derek wasn't kidding, and by the sound of those earlier compliments, the new boy Jeremy was going to be in the area for at least a little while this summer. Ooh boy. Derek sighed in dismay, plopping onto the ground. He followed, and Cove did too shortly after. There wasn't much else to do.
This sucks.
I was hoping I could meet someone fun. Hang out, maybe. He shook his head. After a moment, he slowly turned to you with a hopeful expression. But, you know what would really improve the day? What? He didn't respond. Instead, he used a hand to point, right at the fruit arrangement that you were still holding. He'd completely forgotten about it during the mini-drama that unfolded. He had gotten used to the wait. Glancing over to Cove, you noticed he was eyeing the fruit. He must want some too. Why not? Let's eat. Derek perked up immediately afterwards. He reached out for his skewer, hesitating slightly once he was inches away.
Are you sure?
You nodded. With an eager grin, he plucked out a prime row of fruit. Cove grabbed one for himself after him. Only you were without a skewer of your own. No! Not the pine! No, no pineapple! Melon, melon, melon. The melon was cut to look like a star. It was the obvious first choice. Derek ate it, but I gotta puke. This is amazing. It's not different than any other normal food. It's kind of worse. It's kind of worse. These have been out in the open with their skins off for a while. Sheesh. Hey, you two remember the land before time? That fruit thing makes me think of it. The dinosaurs all like the leaves that were shaped like stars. I know. I know. Tree stars.
Yeah.
Chomping leaves look so delicious when they did. I know. And there was that scene with the pretty trees, and all the dinosaurs came in and picked everything off until there was nothing. That's us right now. Awesome. Aliens looks so worried about you. That's funny, but I agree. I agree with him. I mean, do you think the wonder shaped like stars? I love that movie. I do. Me too. The three of you continued like this for the next few minutes. Eventually, the display was barren. It looked weird when devoid of fruit. Hey, we weren't supposed to eat all of it. It did make you feel better. Eating it all hadn't really made you feel better. Alright, it did help make you feel better. Yeah, eating fruit does make you feel better as long as it's not pineapple. Derek is right. It was so good you were already braying up from the earlier drama. Hey, Rosie? Yeah? The two of you met eyes casually.
So...
That was pretty cool, what you said back at that guy. Oh, thanks. I was just saying what I thought. Derek chimed in while in high spirits. You totally owned him. I don't know what his parents say, but it's good at least somebody's around to tell him what's what. Yeah. Derek then leaned back on his arms. He contemplated the sky with a content sigh. So, are you both ready for summer break? How's someone supposed to be ready for a break? Yeah, seriously. I mean, it just feels like there's a lot to plan for. Alright, just let me remember to save so we don't have to replay the whole Jeremy fiasco. What about you, Cove? Are you ready? I think that depends. Before we could say anything else, the light atmosphere was shattered.
Hey!
Oh, what do you want? You glance over your shoulder to see your sister. She strode closer and closer, appearing none too pleased. When is she ever pleased? I've been looking all over for you. Ma said you and Cove ran off with the thing Mr. Holden bought for us. She leered over you with arms folded. So, where is it? Well, it's gone. What do you mean gone? You moved over to the side to face her completely. She zeroed in on the bouquet in her hands, which was now populated exclusively with skewers dripping in juice and tiny flicks of leftover fruit pieces. Her mouth dropped open, and the tone of her voice rose.
What?
Seriously, Rosie? What were you thinking? It was supposed to be for all of us at home. She glanced at Cove, who sat beside you, and continued mockingly. Even if you are the most important person in the household to the delivery boy, this was up to his dad. It seemed everybody was in a mood to tease you and Cove today. Within moments, Cove's cheeks flushed red. He picked at the hem of his shirt, suddenly finding it very interesting. He almost became nervous when Elizabeth would strike at your relationship. It wasn't us. Still came down, ate it all while we weren't looking. Get over it. Oof. Elizabeth narrowed her. I mean, it's only fruit. Elizabeth narrowed her eyes. Not at all okay with that kind of response. Oh no, I think I hear the main kid coming back. We better get out of here. Elizabeth blinked, confused, and looked around.
What?
What kid? I don't see anyone. Derek didn't bother explaining. He just launched to his feet and ran off. Cove hopped up too, gladly taking the opportunity to exit the situation. He followed after Derek, but he sent a look to you from over his shoulder. He turned to watch Elizabeth. She stared back, brow raised. What are we referring to? Oh, I see. It's our own choice. I'll stay. You did make a break for it. Instead, you carefully got out from the sand, bouquet still in hand. Once you straightened up, Elizabeth smiled affectionately over at you.
Come on.
Come on, fugitive. You nod and gaze at the empty bouquet. How would you explain what happened? You know, you could tell them those boys ate all. They bailed, so they don't get to tell a story. Moms would never need to find out. Are you serious? She bumped your shoulder, winking cheekily. What else is family for? You laughed together, making your way home side by side. I take it back. She's pretty good. She's pretty cool. When Elizabeth had returned earlier with the empty bouquet, Mom was bummed she didn't get anything. Mom consoled her with a promise to make her a fruit flower of her own later. Aww. Elizabeth said nothing about how it came to be empty, and the event was dropped without question. This is a very accurate portrayal of sibling relationships. You'd think they were just happy you and your sister seemed to be in good moods. That was a while ago now. Later that night, you found yourself seated near the kitchen counter. Your fingers drummed on the surface as you waited, your gaze trained on the phone. You were waiting on a call tonight, specifically from your cousin Leandra. I think that's how it's pronounced, Leandra. You didn't want to miss it accidentally. Your uncle, aunt, and Lee used to live many hours away. Your families only saw each other a few times a year for big occasions. A while back, though, they'd moved and were closer to you than ever before. You now hang out regularly. For scoping out, you're positive she's gonna want to come over a lot. The two of you were the same age and got along well. She used to be really fond of Elizabeth, too. But now that her sister had become allergic to interacting with her own family, it tended to be just you and Lee who spent time together. Being family helped make you close, but you had a lot of girlfriends. You often gravitated towards other girls and befriended them pretty easily. Searching my memory. When I was 13? When I was 13... I wouldn't say a lot, but I just didn't have a lot of friends in general. But there weren't more girls than non-girls, I don't think. You also had a lot of non-girlfriends. A lot, haha. What kind of gender someone was didn't seem to make any difference in who you got along with. Then the shrill ringtone announced an incoming call. You jumped before grabbing the receiver and pressing it to your ear. Two shop residents, Rosie speaking. Hello?
Hi!
Aw, she's so cute! I'm glad it's you. For a second there, I thought it might be one of Elizabeth's friends. There was static on the end, as if Lee was shifting wherever she was. So, can you believe school is actually over? I thought it'd never be done. Now we don't have to do any of that boring stuff, and we get to hang out whenever we want. Speaking of hanging out... Lee, can you wait a second? Let me just head to my room. You got off from your seat at the counter. Luckily, the phone was wireless, so you didn't have to worry about any cords tying you down. Your mom had a rule about not moving the phone unless a call was in progress, which was why you'd been sat by its cradle waiting for Lee to call. You thought that made sense. It was nice to keep everything in its proper place. But now Lee had called, it was okay for you to go upstairs to your bedroom and talk to her. You made your way up the stairs, smiling. After you had arrived, you shut the bedroom door firmly behind you. You took a seat on your bed. Alright, I'm here.
Cool!
Hey, did you know the girl down the street from me has her own phone now? A cell phone. She doesn't have to wait for someone else to stop using it or anything. Wow, really? This sounds super unenthusiastic. The thought of someone having a phone that was all their own seemed unbelievable to you. Right? I wish I had one too, but my parents said I couldn't get my own phone until I'm more grown up. I wish they'd change their mind. We could call each other every single day, and no one would be able to stop us. How great would that be? Phone bill is what I'm thinking. Let's see. Too bad that's so far away. I know, I could probably get my own phone without them if I was that old. She sighed dramatically. I bet I'm not gonna get one until I'm all the way in college. Squeezing the phone between your shoulder and ear, you puffed up your pillows and made yourself more comfy. It was strange to think of a time when normal school would be over and you'd have to choose whether or not to go to college. School is such a big part of your life right now. You didn't bother at all in school and your grades reflected that. Yeah, just kidding. Everything in class came easily and worked hard for excellent grades. Depends on the class. I worked hard for some classes, and in some class I didn't really bother. But Yeah, I guess the closest I gravitate towards is I never tried much, but still didn't do that bad. I'm not saying it was good, but I didn't do that bad. Coasting by have become routine for you. Tita? Yeah, it's 13, right? Yeah, 13. Yeah, I didn't try that hard at school until high school, maybe, I guess. Coasting by had become routine for you. Teachers had warned you that you wouldn't be able to do that forever, but you figured it was enough for now. Well, I mean, this is true. I never have plans to get excellent scores ever. Higher grades than I did last year. I mean, I do want to get higher grades than I did last year, but I don't feel a lot of pressure. I don't. Depends on the course again. Again, I'm trying to tap into when I was like 13, but confident my grades were made great. I guess I wasn't that confident, but I mean, I did have to try a little. Yeah, maybe this one. You hope to do just as well as this year, but it wouldn't be a big deal if they dropped them. Grades weren't the most important thing, no matter how good or bad they end up being. Yeah. You try to sound engaged, but your mind had decided to go back to school despite the season. Lee knew you too well to be fooled.
What's up?
You sound so spacey. What's up? Just thinking about school. Lee groaned. Are you thinking about how we don't have to think about it because it's summer? That's what I'm doing. It's so awful. I hate going. I get what you mean. Though I guess school isn't all the way bad. You can do some good things there. You can just do more when school's out. Yeah. No, gym is not pretty great. The cafeteria lunches could be better than they had any right to be. We didn't have cafeteria lunches. There's nothing good about my school. I mean, learning new things can be cool. It can be cool. I just wish everyone did okay of how they taught the things, not just some people.
Me too!
It's the easiest way to hang out with people. And that's true too. If I didn't go to school, I'd never meet anybody new. No one really comes here. Uh-huh. But that was all. Okay, and that's pretty much everything that's good about school. Okay, point taken.
Alright.
Now I decree the topic of school is officially closed. We had to talk about this summer first before we start planning the rest of our lives. I got some plans already. Ooh, tell me. I'm gonna visit my cousins. You chuckled, of course. What's something you want to do? The first thing that comes to your head. When I was 13, truthfully, I don't want to do anything at all. It's a vacation, but I mean, we do need entertainment. I'm gonna catch up on movies and TV. I need to do that too. You lean back in your bed, settling in as you continue chatting with your friend. Even though it had been that long since you saw her and you'd be seeing her soon, you found plenty to talk about. For one, the events of the day. He sat up straighter. I was with Cove and Derek today, and we met a new kid. Like, at your neighborhood? At your neighborhood? Mm-hmm. His parents are visiting family, so it sounds like he'll be around for a little while. I don't know how long. What was he like? Creepy. Well, not the last one. Mean? Yeah, he was mean. Weird. Creepy. Well, I wouldn't say creepy, but well, yeah, he was mean, but also would I say that? Would I say that? Yeah, probably. Yeah. That's just yeah, in Derek's words, mean. He kept snapping when all we were trying to do was talk to him. He just kept being rude to everyone. But especially Cope, it was awful. I don't think I want to meet him. You want a boy stay away before even meeting him? That's an unexpected twist. Your cousin was pretty popular with the boys who knew her. She seemed happy enough to have them around until they start to annoy her. Hey, who are you to talk? You give practically all your attention to boys, or maybe just one boy. I see how much you like Cove. I don't give him all my attention. Lee laughed at her now, deeply amused. Even though she couldn't see, you shook her head at her, grinning to yourself. There was a stomping noise approaching her room, heralding the arrival of your irritated older sister. She flung the door open, a frown itched on her face. The little adventure from earlier hadn't gone you any good well this time, it seemed.
Come on.
How long are you going to hog the phone? Glancing at your watch, you realized that your quick call had gone on much longer than anticipated. Elizabeth held out her hand, the other one lodged on her hip. She noticed a realization on her face. Time's up. No, I wouldn't be that mean. With a sigh, you said your goodbyes to Lee. Lee, I have to go now.
Bye.
Okay, see you soon. Tell Elizabeth and your moms I said hi too. You barely pressed the end call button when Elizabeth whisked the handset from your fingers and began dialing someone new as she strode out of the room. Your mom's voice called from downstairs. Hey, has anyone seen the phone? I'm using it. With that, she shut her door behind you. Silence was left in the wake. That was one way to end your first day of summer break. Sometime later, it had gone dark outside, and you laid in bed, wide awake. Your window rattled all of a sudden, startling you badly. You flinched, staring over at it with furrowed brows. From your vantage point, you saw only the moon in an open sky. You were... curious? What had caused that noise? Cocking your head, you sat up and moved closer to the window. You wanted to get to the bottom of this. To your utter shock, your gaze was met by a pair of familiar ocean blue eyes. Oh no! We're doing that, I wouldn't say cliche. Stereotypical? No, really, classic, yeah, why not? The classic, window visit. Cove? You squinted. Yep, Cove was right outside your window. Your house is very angular, and some parts stuck out further than others, so it theoretically wouldn't be hard to climb around on. Still, just because somebody could didn't mean you expected it to ever happen. To his credit, Cove was doing fine. His feet were braced against a section of the wall that jutted out, his arms flexing with the effort to keep him upright. He easily lifted a hand and waved at you from the other side of the glass. You hurriedly opened the window. Cove climbed over the ledge, releasing a breath once he was safely inside.
Hey.
You're lucky I didn't start screaming. That's true. There's some pretty straightforward options here. You're lucky I didn't start screaming. I needed to talk to you and couldn't wait until tomorrow, sorry. If I rang the doorbell, I know your moms would have answered and they just make me go home. I didn't really want to explain why I was coming over anyway. I don't want to talk about it. Well, besides of you, I mean, but that's why I did that. As unexpected as this was, your touch Cove felt like he could tell you what was wrong. I might try calling or something, except my dad was on the phone. Cove suddenly looked very cross. Dad, who was talking to my mom, still is, probably. You raise your eyebrows. Cove had eavesdropped on his parents' phone conversation. I would have done that too. Gotcha, obviously. Cove looked relieved, a small smile played on his lips. Right. Don't forget to save. Yeah, it's hard to not to spy at least a little. It was about me. Are you going to stay with your mom for a while again? Every year, Cove was sent off to live with his mom for a few weeks, but when it happened, varied. Sometimes he would go during winter break, but usually he went during summer. Even though it was hard news when you found he was leaving and you missed seeing him those weeks, you understood. To your surprise, however, he shook his head. That's what I thought too, but no, that's not what they were saying. My dad asked my mom not to have me leave this year. He said she could come stay with us here. You waited for him to continue. He didn't. The conversation abruptly dropped off. He couldn't help but stare at Cove. There was a complicated mix of expressions on his face. What did your mom say? She told him she'd come. I know she's coming soon before school starts. Oh. Yeah, I heard Cove talk about his mom a lot over the years. He'd tell you about past memories or what happened while he was visiting her. Still, it was one thing to hear about someone, another to actually meet them. Very soon you were going to see Cove's mom in person. You were taken aback by the news, so you could only imagine how Cove felt. You looked over at him. He was pacing across her room, his features pained with dread. Before they barely stay in the same room long enough to have lunch. Now we're gonna be all together again, the three of us, after all this time, just for a few weeks. I know I should probably be happy they can talk to each other now. I'm still not. I'm just confused and freaked out, and now I feel really bad for feeling this way. Rosie, it's so... His fist tightened and his eyes became misty. I shouldn't keep getting like this. It's been a long time already, and I'm not a little kid. Though he wouldn't meet your eyes, he knew he was waiting for you to say something. Well, there's nothing wrong with feeling bad. That is hard to deal with. Ko sniffled. You were afraid he might really start crying, but he didn't. Instead, he smiled. See? Now I feel kind of better. Visiting like this wasn't a bad idea. A momentary silence fell over the two of you. You marveled at how the day started. You had woken up eager for summer vacation, but now things seem so crazy. The mini debacle of Mr. Holden's gift, the newest addition to the neighborhood being so rude, and as if all that wasn't enough, now Ko's mom would be living with Ko and his dad again. Your whole life was kind of like that, it seemed. Complicated, and hard, and different. Why couldn't things just get better with time? Rosie? The sound of your name stayed quietly, hold you from your thoughts. Ko gazed at you, concerned.
Are you okay?
Who, me? I'm more worried about you. You don't have to forget about yourself for me, I want to listen to you too. Ko grinned reassuringly. It was small and delicate, but he knew it was genuine. Moonlight from outside cast shadows across his face and lit up his eyes. They seemed to sparkle with his smile. Just that one look brightened your mood somewhat. You know, I think I don't want to talk anymore about this. He looked away, his lips thinning into a line and rubbed at his arms. But I kinda don't want to go back home either. Could I stay a little longer, just doing something else? He appeared equal parts hopeful and vulnerable. How could he possibly turn him away? I got a flashlight and some cards. You in? You tilted your head, waiting patiently for his answer. Ko perked up at your response, a smile appearing on his face. He immediately took a seat on your bed, not afraid to get comfortable in your room. You felt a little better at the sight somehow. You still had a lot of worries, but you were glad he was here. And not just tonight, you were glad he came into your life in the first place. That was a change you never want to undo. It felt totally natural to let him into your little world. The initial friendship had deepened so much over these past years, and you were certain there was room to get even closer. Oh my god, that jump scared me. You joined Ko in her bed, taking a seat across from him. He smiled at you, again, but you could tell this time it was half-hearted. He was still easy to read. Though he didn't want to talk about his mom and dad, he must be thinking about what happened and what's about to happen. Let's not touch people with our feet. Let's pat his back. You stretched your short arm out and softly pat his back. It wasn't much, but you hoped the contact helped even a little. Ko blinked, startled, before his expression softened into something more natural. Conversation was stilted and broken often by silence at first, and both of you were able to get into your usual candor. As your secret hangout session stretched on, you thought that you truly wanted to keep having moments like this with him. You hoped a day would never come when life decided that the two of you would have to part ways. You knew Ko felt the same. You opened your tired eyes, groaning as they adjusted to the bright light that was streaming through your window and warming your peachy skin. With a loud yawn, you rolled away from the sunlight and blinked a couple of times, clearing the sleep from your eyes before realizing of a start that it was actually morning. You couldn't remember even falling asleep. Ko had crept through your window during the night, and the two of you spent time together, trying not to wake your parents. You must have fallen asleep while you were hanging out, but couldn't put a finger on exactly when. You wondered how late Ko had stayed before heading home. You rubbed your face and yawned again, contemplating whether you should get out of bed and get ready for the day, or stay snuggled up for a little while longer. Until your gaze landed on an instantly recognizable mop of pale green hair, and you bolted upright and gasped in surprise. He never left! He was still there in the morning! I will laugh about this. He had fallen asleep while sitting on the ground and precariously leaning his head on the side of your mattress. With your laugh, Ko's eyes snapped open, his head slipped from its source of support. He didn't stop going down until he smacked right into the floor. Smacked right into the floor with a crack. He clamped a hand to her mouth and looked down at him with wide eyes, curled up where he had landed rather ungracefully.
Aww.
Ugh. Are you okay? You winced at his tumble, hoping no one else in the house had heard either of your outbursts. Yeah, I'm alright. Cove rubbed at his forehead a little, and you weren't sure that was entirely true. If either of your moms found out Cove had slipped here last night, the two of you would be in big trouble, I'll say. Cove blinked at you a couple of times, his eyes growing in panic as some thought that only he could hear settled in his mind.
Oh my god!
You weren't exactly sure what to do as you watched Cove pace your room, looking around frantically. Cove stopped mid-step, and you wanted to ask what he had been searching for, but you guessed he wouldn't know the answer to that himself. Despite that, he hadn't calmed down completely. The atmosphere was still frazzled. It's going to be alright, probably. It's safe. You just need to leave before anyone notices you're here. If they knew, we would have heard about it already. Cove nodded, his shoulders tense as he fixed you with a firm stare of his turquoise eyes. Letting out a heavy sigh, he ran a hand through his hair in exasperation. He couldn't look at you again as he spoke. I'll see you later. You were confused by how all of this had played out, but hoped that was true. Right. Bye, Cove. At that, two were suddenly wrapped up in a tense embrace. As panicked as he was, this seemed to be something he couldn't forget before leaving. Thanks, again. You're a good friend, Rosie. A really good friend. He firmly whispered the words into the top of your shoulder. It made you feel tingly. Aww, that would've been cute if he hadn't friend-zoned you. But you were let go before he had a chance to respond or even fully react. In a matter of seconds, he had climbed over your bed and opened the window. A cool breeze rolled off the ocean, fluttering through Cove's hair and filling your room with its salty scent. Cove fearlessly stepped out onto the ledge. I wish him luck. Good luck, Bisuda. I hope we didn't jinx him. You weren't sure if he heard you or not, but he kept going along, one foot in front of the other with increasing speed until his form disappeared out of sight. You stuck your head out the window as far as it could go to try keeping watch. He walked the full length of the ledge before jumping down to the top of the garbage, then lowering himself onto the fence. From there, he finally dropped down to the ground. He threw out a thumbs up at a successful climb. He ran up towards his house without stopping, disappearing behind the side of another building. You had to admit that you were pretty impressed at how doable he made that look. Kobo seemed to have a way of seeming so smooth without even meaning to. With a little sigh, you reclosed your window, deciding there was nothing more you could do. You hopped off your bed and got ready to head downstairs for the day. You just left. I'll check myself in the mirror. You certainly look like you had just woken up with your purple hair sticking up all over the place. Taking a comb from your bedside table, you attempted to fix and smooth down some of the messy strands. You took the stairs, slowly attempting to mask your face into a look of innocence. You were sure that someone would have come into your room if they had heard anything strange, but you couldn't be too careful. You had to play it cool. Let's save. This would be a good time to save. When you stepped into the living room, Elizabeth was there, tapping her finger on the counter. Good morning, Elizabeth. She looked you over immediately, her eyes squinting at the grating.
Why?
Why are you being so weird? You hadn't even done anything. Your big sister never missed a beat, unfortunately. You turned and offered a tight smile, and her lips pursed together even tighter. Rosie? Clam up. She began to smile, thinking whatever you were hiding is bigger than she assumed.
Come on.
What's going on? Nothing. First, suspicious squinting occurred as she waited for something. But ultimately, she rolled her eyes, and you weren't sure if you were in trouble or not. She didn't seem to care enough to dig any further. Whatever. And then she walked straight out the front door, letting it slam shut behind her, and you let out a brief sigh. Elizabeth went out most days to hang out with her friends from school around town. Today you were extra glad for it, though you were also grateful she hadn't left the house any sooner and risked running into Cove. It looked like you were getting away with that. Breakfast was eaten in peace and alone. Your moms were both out by the time you had gone up. Now left you a serving of food from the breakfast they made. Hash browns, an omelet, fruit salad, and there were a few sausage links. Okay, I took a little bit of everything because that all sounds like stuff I like. It was tasty. You appreciate that there is variety in the meals your mom's made. The day lazily drifted by at home, and eventually your parents returned. You pulled open the fridge again, lingering in the frosty air for a moment or two before grabbing a bottle of ice-cold water and taking a long drink. It was a perfect balmy summer afternoon, and you had decided to head outdoors and find something to do. You hadn't decided what that something was just yet, but you were sure something would pop up to occupy your time. As you were heading out the front door, you paused for a moment. You hadn't seen Ko since he had left that morning, and you couldn't help but think about what had happened to him. Would it be bad to go over to his house right now or to call him to check in? You step out of your house, still stuck in an internal debate with yourself, when a voice caught your attention.
Hi!
Confused, you look over to where an unrecognizable woman, Osiko's mom, was waving at you, a friendly smile plastered on her face. You racked your memory for where you might have seen her before, but nothing came to mind. Not her school or from the country club your mom took you to. You had absolutely no idea who the woman was. The woman crossed the road towards you, and you were a little unsure whether you should stay put or go back into the house and lock the door. Oops, I'm sorry, was that presumptuous? I've heard about you, but you have no idea who I am, do you? I do not. You shook your head, and she removed her sunglasses to reveal sparkly ocean blue eyes. All of a sudden, she seemed a little more familiar. My son lives here, and my ex, too. With a bent smile, she lifted a hand to point the condo across the street from your own house. She was Ko's mom! You didn't know why you hadn't realized sooner, now that you'd gotten a good look at her. It made sense that she was Ko's mom. They had the same eyes and their physical traits in common. No matter your thoughts on her, you still felt taken aback that she had appeared here so suddenly. Ko mentioned she was coming, but you hadn't gotten the impression it would be the very next day. She extended a hand again, this time for you to take, and you studied the manicured fingers in front of your face in an assortment of bracelets that dangled from her wrist. I'm Kira Priest. We are committed. We're committed to the pronunciation Kira. You can call me Kira. Kira. You shook her head. You shook her head. You shook her hand. You didn't shake her hand. Oh, I'll be polite. You reached out and took her hand, and she shook yours firmly, grinning wide. I'm Rosie, but you already know that.
That I do.
Ko's mentioned you to me before. It's nice to officially meet you, Rosie. Ko talked to you about his mom. He hadn't mentioned how he said things about you to her. Nice to meet you too, just to be polite. She smiled fondly, her eyes crinkling at the corners. The sound of a door opening and closing caught both your attentions, and when you turned towards the sound, it was to find Ko exiting his house, his eyes skimming the ground. Considering just how tall he had grown, you kind of figure his mom also up and tall, but she was much more on the short side, for an adult anyway. Ko's height must have come from his father.
My baby!
There you are. I thought you were gonna keep me standing out here all day. You tried to catch Ko's eye as he walked towards you, but his gaze was firmly fixed on the sidewalk. When he finally crossed the road and looked up, he gave you a pitiful look. After the way he had acted last night, you knew he must be feeling pretty mixed up about this. You tried to wordlessly express that you understood. Ko and I are heading into town to grab something to eat while the snore is at work. Kira beamed at Ko and ruffled his hair, which only seemed to upset him more. You assumed the snore she was talking about was Mr. Holden. Hey, you should come with us, Rosie. I'd love to get to know you better. Yeah, you should come. There was a pleading in his tone that I couldn't miss. Of course, we'll run it by your parents first. Responsibility and all that.
Any whoosies.
It'll give me an excuse to meet them, which I need to do at some point. It's important to be neighborly if I'm going to be roosting on the street for the time being. Any whoosies, let's go. Kira walked ahead towards her house, and you hung back of Ko, who crinkled his nose as he watched her.
Sorry.
I'm sorry about her, but I really do want you to come. I don't want it to be just the two of us. Not right now. You leaned in closer and whispered while checking around for anyone who might hear. What happened? Did your dad know you were gone? Ko shook his head and sighed heavily. Dad was so focused on Mom showing up that he didn't even notice. I thought when I heard them on the phone last night that it was something they were planning for the future. This morning Dad said it was supposed to be a surprise, and I guess I was surprised. She's gonna be here all summer. Oh, you were surprised to hear that too. Ko sighed again, even heavier. I'll go with you if you really want me to. He smiled, his shoulders relaxing a little in relief. Thanks, that'd be cool. Well, she is pretty, though. The two of you head over to where Ko's mom had just knocked on your front door and stood behind her. Mom answered her door after a minute, her eyebrows lifting in surprise at the group she found in front of her. You realize that, like you, she had no idea that it was Ko's mom who was hanging with you. However, after blinking at the woman a couple of times and looking between her and Ko, the realization seemed to strike on her. Hello there, I'm Pamela.
I see.
I see you've met my kid Rosie, and I'm guessing you've already known Ko for a while. Kira laughed, and Kira laughed, and you and Ko exchanged looks at your parents' weird sense of humor. I'm Kira Priest, Ko's mom. It's so nice to meet you. A head of purple-brown hair caught your eye as Ma popped up behind Mom, squeezing herself in beside her. We have company. I was wondering what all the commotion was. She grinned excitedly at Kira. The two of them introduced themselves and shook hands.
Hello.
Hi, Rosie, Ko. Ko smiled at Ma shyly, and she gestured a hand towards the living room. There's no use hanging around in the doorway. Why don't you come in? I'd love to, but I promised to take my son out to eat, and I wouldn't want to hold you up with a surprise visit. Ko grimaced. He likely took offense at how she didn't want to put them out to a surprise visit, but not him, apparently. Well, I understand. You're welcome to stop by any time.
Of course.
I'll take you up on the offer when I can. Count on it. I didn't mind too much if Rosie went with Ko and I. My treat. We won't be driving, just a quick walk down the road. Sure, that sounds nice.
Have fun.
I hope you all have fun. He gave your moms a look, and they smiled at you fondly. Alright, I'll be happy. You could tell that Ko really needed support, and you were ready to be there for him.
Marvelous.
Expect us back in an hour or two. We look forward to seeing you again. Take care. Your parents waved goodbye to the three of you as you backed up onto the street. There was a sound of the front door closing behind you. I'm pretty positive I saw some restaurants when I was in a taxi not too far from here.
Yeah.
It's a tourist town, isn't it? There's a lot of them around. It was kind of strange to see Cove give someone this much attitude. If he wasn't in the mood to be nice, he generally just kept it to himself. Kira put her hands on her hips and smiled at her son.
Well.
You sound like the area expert. Do you have any recommendations for a place nearby? Not really. Kira pouted at him a little and turned to you instead. How about you, Rosie? Want to point me in the right direction? I'm usually more polite to strangers. So sure, I have a couple of favorites. You've been to a lot of places in town, and there were a couple that stood out from all the rest. There's a Chinese restaurant that me and my family go to all the time. It's my mom's favorite. There's also a tropical-themed place that tries to be sort of fancy. Both sound like a treat. I'll leave it to you to pick for us, since Cove is going through a phase over there. He huffed at her and turned his face away. Let's let Kira decide. I've already tried both. You should be the one who chooses. You're so polite. Alright, let's head up the fancy tropical place. I'm intrigued. Will you show us the way? You nod, taking the lead of your little group as Cove and his mom followed behind you. Together, the three of you left the neighborhood behind. The walk was about 15 minutes, and along the way, Kira asked a lot of questions about the area. Cove was quiet most of the time, so you ended up answering her instead. Kira explained that she lived in a large city, and she loved how peaceful and relaxing everything seemed in Sunset Bird. The restaurant was busy as usual, but luckily you were shown right to a small table. Kira lowered herself into the chair, while Cove picked the one diagonal to her, not facing her or to her side. It was awkward. Let's see. To start, what would you all like to drink? I'll get an orange soda.
Noted.
Rosie? Milk. Which type? What am I feeling today? Chocolate, strawberry, just plain. Let's go with chocolate. Sure. Kira placed the order for her drinks, getting a black hot coffee for herself, and it didn't take long before they were brought to the table and set in front of you. He took a long sip of her drink as he looked around the restaurant. Your small group checked over the menus, deciding what to order. The last time you came here, the dish you ordered was amazing. You wanted to order something different this time. Kira and Co didn't need any encouragement for this. They were totally focused on the information in front of them. Soon the meals too were ordered, and the menus taken away. He glanced at a table surface, waiting to figure out what to say. Cove awkwardly slunk back further into his seat and crossed his arms, all while blatantly avoiding eye contact. The side wall must be really interesting to him right now. His sour feelings today were unignorable. Instead of asking more open questions he'd brush off, Kira had mercy on her son and instead put her focus towards you.
So?
So, Rosie, what's a few things that you're into? There's gotta be something you do for fun, especially now that you're not buried in school assignments. Oh, Mo, that's a lot of options. Oh, I see. It's a two-part option. I do not hang out with people. I'm also not that into sports. I'm really into golf. I still spend time studying. Oh, I guess it's not a two-part choice. Let me see. What do I? Oh no, I have no hobbies. Anyway, I like to watch. I do like watching plays too, and people. Actually, I like watching all of these things. TV. It's pretty addicting when you find a good series, isn't it? And games are fun. I like to play video games sometimes. I don't know much about them. Maybe you can show me sometime. And music, right? And music. I feel I listen to I do play piano and I do play the violin, but I don't really want to. I don't really enjoy doing them during my break anyway. I listen to a lot of it. Haha, I have an MP3 player at home that my mom helped me put some music on, and I've seen some concerts. Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Nothing.
Thanks.
And nothing. I'm happy to learn more about you. There's so much I hadn't heard. Ko leaves the details out. So what exactly did Ko say about me? Kira laughed, holding a hand in front of her mouth. I can tell you that. I didn't come all this way to embarrass my son too much. Kids are delicate at this age. She laughed again, and he glanced at Cove to see his reaction. He cringed, looking very much like he would rather be anywhere but here. Hoping it would clear some of the tension in the air, you decided to ask Kira a few questions of your own. Cove hadn't told you much about her, and you were curious to know more about this woman who was such a big part of his life. What exactly do you do for work? I'm a travel writer for magazines and things. I keep people in the loop on what's worth saying. It's good work. Wow. Oof, that's a really, the last one's a really personal question. Where do you live normally? Nevada. Have you ever been there? I have not. You shook your head. It's a beautiful place. Check it out if you can. And what do you like to do? Spend time with my little boy, of course, and traveling. A real shock, huh? Yeah. I won't ask anymore. It didn't seem to bother her that the conversation dropped off. Ko sipped his soda angrily, slurping up the remaining drink with furrowed brows. He looked ready to run straight out of the restaurant. You weren't sure if coming along had ended up making a lunch better or worse. I will make a silly face at him. You stared at Cove until he glanced at you in annoyance, and then you lifted your nose with a finger and poked out your tongue. It was subtle, but you saw or could see the hint of a smile tilting the corner of his lips.
Very cute.
You two seemed really cute together. Cove covered his face with his hands and leaned back in his seat.
Seriously?
Thanks, we are cute. I would laugh awkwardly, to be honest. Eesh. That was definitely unexpected, and there didn't seem to be any other way you could react. Your meals were delivered shortly after that, and everything was so delicious, even Cove enjoyed his food.
Okay.
Alright, now that we're all full and content, can you explain please why you've had to bug up your butt all day? Cove's face instantly returned to his scrunched form. Seriously, baby, what did Mom do to make you this mad? I haven't even been around a full day yet. He gripped the edge of the table, refusing to make eye contact. The words he spoke were barely audible over the din of the restaurant. You could have told me. She leaned forward to not miss anything else, eyebrows raised. Told you what? He finally seemed to find his voice and spoke the thoughts that had been on his mind. That I wasn't going to visit you this year, that you were going to be coming instead. Didn't you invite me? You wanted me here with you? Ko's eyes began to shake and his frustration ebbed. I don't. I do want to be around, but I didn't know it'd be like this. It's not the same, and nobody said anything.
I see.
Her expression grew tense. She threaded her fingers together and placed her hands in front of her on the table. We've both been gifted another Clifford surprise. Referring to that as a Clifford surprise almost caused both you and Cove to crack a smile. You also had no idea his name wasn't just Cliff. Over 5 years, nobody had ever called him Clifford until now. She smoothed her hair out, not letting go of her stern look. The more things change, the more they stay the same. They allowed identical sighs, but smiled weakly at one another afterwards.
I'm sorry.
I can go home, Cove. We can still set up a normal trip to my place before the summer ends. Cove's lips tightly closed together. He seriously pondered the option.
I mean...
I think I do want you to stay. I miss it when you're not there. My heart! She reached across the gap, grabbed his face, and planted a kiss on his cheek. Cove tried to wiggle away. Mom, stop! I'm sorry, sweet young men need to be smooched by the parents. If I don't, they'll take away my mom license. Kira was completely enthused by Cove's admission, though a tone of seriousness did return to her voice when the conversation continued. Do you want to talk to your dad too?
No!
Kova snapped the word instantly, but reeled his annoyance back in just as quickly. Maybe later. Not today.
It's alright.
I understand. We can shelve it. Thanks, Mom. Thank you for talking to me, little mister. She grinned affectionately at him before turning her way. And thank you, Rosie. Huh? Well, what did I do? It's easy to act like a baby for Mom. It's hard to keep that up with our neighbor watching everything. Especially when you really care about what the neighbor thinks of you. She winked. Mom! She just ruffled his hair with a laugh, then moved her hand down to tap the end of his nose. And that was how the issue was resolved, at least between Cove and his mom. When the three of you left the restaurant and Kira had paid the bill, you walked back to your neighborhood slowly. You had eaten so much by the time you were beginning to feel sleepy. It didn't help that the lunch had happened late and the sun was already beginning to descend from the sky. But eventually you reached your street. Someone was there to greet your group upon arrival. Welcome back, family, and Rosie too.
Huh.
Dad. The two walked past him into the condo without sparing another word. Despite the summer heat, their shoulders were cold. He rubbed the back of his neck with a quick smile, but his eyes were soft as he looked on after them. He's so much like his mom, don't you think? He gave a vague nod, not sure what he was expecting you to do. He nodded back, far more energetically. Okay, have a nice night, Rosie. You too, Mr. Holden. With that, Cove's dad disappeared to join the others inside. It was your turn to go home now. Summer hadn't started off at all how you imagined it would have, though it turned out to set the tone well. Having Kira in the neighborhood was a new experience for not only you and Cove, but also both your families, and a dull moment was rarely had. Woohoo! Alright, so we get to select a moment again. Yeah. I think we should, let me say first. Yes, but I don't think, yeah, I still don't think moments, affect the plot, the ending at least so much. I don't know. I mean, I will look at them probably, in my own time, but for now, let's skip. There is no denying it. Today was the very last day of summer. Tomorrow you are heading to class. Already! Anxiety gnawed at your stomach. Going back to school meant handing over the autonomy you'd had over the past weeks. You had very little control over what you did at school or who you shared class with. It was with a heavy heart that you chose your outfit for your final day of freedom. Life was going to be different. You had to come to think of the summer vacation as the norm, but school sucked up the majority of the year, whereas the summer vacation was just a respite in the middle. So, rather than it being different, it was kind of a return to the normal. What did your normal life really mean? You considered how fond your moms talked about their summer vacations as kids. You dimly recognized that 1 year the pattern of school and summer itself would be over for good. It was hard to imagine. You got distracted, one arm still out of his sleeve. You pulled it through and put your mind back to the present. This season had brought about plenty of changes of its own, like Kira's visit, though that too was coming to an end today. You didn't really like her, you were kind of neutral, I guess. You were happy you'd finally gotten the chance to know her. She was interesting to be around. You liked how easy it was to talk to her. You finished dressing, which was good. Kobe would be there any moment. You'd agree to see his mom off together. Officially, the plan was that he would come over to bring you around to his house when she was ready to set off, but you both knew that you'd be hanging out for at least a little while beforehand. Kira's visit had troubled Kobe when it first happened. It had been a sudden change, thanks to Mr. Holden's infamous tendency to surprise people, but once he was able to adjust, he'd been in pretty good spirits of her around. It was relief for everyone. The next thought that crossed her mind was... they play get to work. You couldn't wait to go, so only to meet when you arrive. Come to your house well enough, you could lounge in your room to wait for him. It would only be polite to get the door for Cove. You went upstairs to wait. You strolled down the stairs. Someone else might have been able to answer it, but he was your guest. It was only a few minutes later when the doorbell rang, as you'd chosen to stand beside to wait for Cove. There's no delay in pulling it open. Cove was there, just as you'd expected. He smiled as he caught sight of you.
Hey.
Hi, Cove, come on in. Once he stepped inside, you beckoned for him to follow you upstairs. Back up in your room, you sat down on your bed and waited for Cove to settle in as you knew he would. With other guests, you might have offered them a seat, but you and Cove were long past those tentative stages of friendship. Your room was as familiar to him as his own. You watched as Cove sat down in your desk chair, his preferred spot. He rolled it closer to the bed to make it easier to chat, tweaking the angle so that he was facing you fully. Once happy with the position, he leaned in towards you, hands held in his lap. His actions weren't the ones of someone who planned on moving from his watch anytime soon, even though you had an appointment to keep together that day. When is your mom leaving?
Don't worry about it.
It got some time. She still got a shower and stuff before she goes. She didn't want me to just keep hanging around while she was doing that. He lifted his head, his gaze drifting out through the window, and chuckled. I can't believe she's already leaving, just when I'm getting used to her being there every day. He leaned back in the chair, a wry smile tickling his cheeks. She'll be back. He cocked his head thoughtfully before shrugging. He ran a hand through his hair before shaking his head, as if shaking off the topic like a dog whipping off water following a dip in the sea. The conversation lapsed into another comfortable lull. Ko swung his feet underneath the seat of the chair, his eyes resting on you. Having him over here was so nice. No matter how he spent the time, you always felt better for being in his company. You couldn't help but adore him, both as a friend and in a way that plucked at your heart, a vague yearning for more. Maybe it's because summer was almost over that your feelings were rushing in on you now, like high tide at the end of a long day. Summer was such a meaningful time for the two of you. Not only because it was when you first met, but because it was a season that you could spend almost entirely as you pleased, and you both chose to spend it together. No, you're too scared to let him know. Whoop. I hope that didn't majorly affect anything. Where you were now felt safe, it was good. You couldn't handle the possibility of messing it up. The two of you tried to find something to say now. Luckily, it didn't end up being that hard. This is a really nice summer. Totally, haha. I've had better. I'm looking forward to the next. Ko still nestled cozily in her chair, smiled at your response. Rosie, Cove! The sudden call from downstairs caught you both unaware. You nearly forgotten the world outside your room. From the guilty look on his face, Cove had done the same. Just had a call. Cove's mom was ready to go. If you're quick, she might keep the Mandy motherly smothering to a minimum. You doubt that, but it was nice that Mom and Ms. Priest had their strange sense of humor in common. Their eyes met Cove's. Wordlessly, you head downstairs together. Each step on the way there was painfully slow. Each step on the way there was painfully slow, like he was trying to delay the inevitable. His whole body tense leaving the house, and Cove froze altogether before you both could cross the street.
Oh.
The doors opened. Dad must be taking her stuff out. He swallowed hard. She's really gonna leave. This isn't the last time you ever see her. I know, but I got used to having her here. Yeah. It's hard to think of a world where you didn't have both of your moms living at home with you, so you couldn't even imagine how hurt Cove must have been feeling knowing his mom was leaving. He thought you saw his bond lip quiver just before he turned his head away from you. You don't have to head over if you don't want to. No, it'll be worse if I miss her leaving. Okay. At that, some of the conflict warring on his face eased a bit. Together, you went across the street and inside his house, finding his parents in the living room, surrounded by his mom's packed things. Again, that's a pretty big space for a family of two. Hey, kids. Good timing, I just caught the taxi.
Hi.
And hi, Rosie. So glad I get to see you today. It's fabulous getting to know you this summer. I finally got to put a face to the name I've heard so many times. She winked, and Cove pouted on cue over the teasing. Bye. I'm really happy I got to meet you too, I say, lying through my teeth. Just kidding. Hopefully it won't be too long before we see each other again. Nodding, Kira turned her attention back to her boys. She patted Cliff on the arm with a warm smile, and then she enveloped Cove in a crushing hug. Initially, Cove squirmed to break free from her grip, but his mom was unfazed and kept him locked in place. Heartbeats later, he gave in and hugged her back tightly.
I'm so glad.
Cliff looked like he was bursting with pride. And then Cove stiffened. Kira loosened her hold on him enough to study his face, concerned. She spoke her next words in a whisper that had been meant just for her son.
What do you think?
Raising an eyebrow, Cliff watched him carefully. His smile began to falter.
What's wrong?
Cove sighed, and his gaze flickered over to you for a moment, and then just as quick, it was back on his parents.
It's okay.
Really?
I don't want to do it now. I can tell Dad later. Nervously, you watched the exchange with a growing suspicion that Cove didn't want to have the conversation while you were there. You wonder if you should offer to leave, when Kira gave Cove a pat on the head.
All right.
You can always call me if you want to be a part of the conversation, if you want me to be a part of the conversation, okay? I'll call. Thanks, Mom. Cliff still looked baffled about what Kira and Cove were referring to, but you watched as his shoulders slowly relaxed. You figured that he decided to wait for Cove to be ready to talk to him. And of Cliff's silence, things seemed to be settled for now. After that, it wasn't long before the taxi arrived. Rolling up in front of the house and in clear view of the open door, Kira stood up, smiling
Wow.
sadly. Well, that's my ride. Yeah. The matching reply got a chuckle out of Kira as they all filed out of the house. Father and son went with Kira's bags in hand. Once outside, you saw your family waiting by the street, and to your surprise, Derek was also with them. He stood uncomfortably, and he waved as soon as he noticed him.
What's up?
When did you get here? My dad dropped me off just a little bit ago. Thought I could visit one more time before school started.
Sorry.
You picked a busy time, sorry. Derek couldn't even look at Cove. He nervously kept rolling a pebble with the bottom of his shoe.
Sorry.
I wasn't even thinking that your mom would be leaving today. I'm sorry, dude. What, you're not interrupting anything. You're always welcome here. It would have been sad if I didn't get to say goodbye before leaving. Derek came to hang out often, so it's inevitable that the two had met at some point this season. I think so too. It was apparent Derek would have preferred to have gone there at a more opportune moment. He never liked seeming impolite, but their reassuring words soothed his worries. The tension he was holding in his body listened, and he looked like he was feeling much more like himself. Bye, Derek. It was fun getting to know you. Bye, ma'am. Is there anything I can do to help?
Nah.
Nah, don't worry about it. Don't worry yourself over that. We're just about set. In that short amount of time, Cliff had gathered and packed the bags into the trunk. Kira took one last look at everyone inside. Alright, I don't want to keep the driver waiting. It's time to head out. The little crowd that had formed around started their chorus of farewells and well wishes traveling, but Kira still made no move to get into the taxi. She placed her attention on Cove. I'll call when I get to the airport, and when I make it to Nevada. Also, better call a moment to walk in the door at home. Otherwise, he'll be wondering all night if you got into trouble on the way there.
Can do.
And could you call tomorrow too, so I can tell you how school went? Of course, I want to hear all about it. Kira put a hand on Cove's head and affectionately ruffled his hair one last time. She then let go, only to move on to squeezing his cheeks in her hands instead. Mom?
Cove.
I love you so much, baby. She was chuckling by the time she freed him and rounded things off with a small tap to the tip of his nose. Cove rubbed at his face with a grin. Finally, she walked to the car while waving and took her seat in the taxi. Cliff hooked an arm around Cove's shoulder and kept him close as it began to pull away. For a moment, Cove looked up at his dad and then wrapped an arm across his back.
Bye.
Bye, Mom. Bye, travel safe. Kira rolled down the window and stuck her head out of it. She waved again while blowing kisses at Cove and Cliff. See you again. Before she was out of sight, you decided to... wave goodbye. As the taxi headed down the road, you stuck your hand in the air to send her off. The cab turned down another road and completely disappeared from view. Cove let go of his dad and took a few steps out into the empty street, still looking in the direction his mom went. He smiled quietly, deep in thought. He got the impression Cove was feeling better than he was earlier. He was finally content with the way things were. You jumped a bit when your mom put a hand on her shoulder, pulling you away from your thoughts. She smiled when you looked at her. This was a great vacation, huh? I don't think so. You nodded in agreement. Yeah, it was a good one. Cove walked back over to the group, still genuinely happy. Derek grinned at him welcomingly, and everyone else there smiled at him, even Elizabeth. Aww.
Well?
Ma clapped her hands together, bringing everyone's attention back to the present. It's almost lunchtime. I think I'll put something special together. Her eyes sparkled with a plan, and Mom smiled. I bet you could use some help with that. That'd be absolutely wonderful. Derek glanced between the two, his eyebrows furrowed. Is there something I could do? Your mom's exchanged a fond expression. Ma shook her head.
How sweet.
It's not your job. Technically, your dad left you under Cliff's watch. You're meant to be taken care of by him, not doing chores for the neighbors. Mom laughed a little over her own joke. He watched Derek look away, discouraged.
It's okay.
Aww. He was a little bashful about it. You wondered if Mom's joke had just reminded him that he wasn't initially meant to be invited to lunch. It was getting a little awkward. Mom grinned sympathetically. Her comment was meant to lighten the mood, not bring it back down. Mom tried again to get things moving forward. Why don't you kids go have fun? You all can come back in about an hour. We'll make enough for everyone. Mom nodded in agreement.
Sounds good.
Another stunning idea, Lonnie. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That sounds like a plan, then. I don't want to cramp your style. I got some stuff to work on, so I can be out of your hair this afternoon. You should come by later, too. No reason you should be the odd man out. Mom seemed amused as Cliff rubbed his neck nervously. He grinned a wavering but pleased smile.
Thanks very much.
He looked over the assembled crowd with knowing glances. I can help too. With as many people as you're feeding, that's going to be a lot of food. Didn't you hear what we told Derek? It wouldn't be fair to make you cook when we're the ones who are inviting you in. Ma raised an eyebrow when Cliff waited.
Come on.
I insist Derek would be missing time with his pals. This would be a break for me. I'm quite the chef. Ma and Mom exchanged further glances before Mom shrugged.
True.
An airtight argument. If you're sure, we'll be happy to have you, Chef Cliff. Cliff's grin widened and seemed more hyped than you expected him to be about helping with lunch. Ko shook his head, a fond smile on his face. Then all of us grown-up people will be heading outside. I assume the rest of you kiddos are staying out? Maybe not all of them. Mom tilted her head, a side question for Elizabeth. Your sister thought for a moment.
All right.
I'll stay with the kids.
That's fantastic.
That's great. Both her moms smiled at her, while Derek and Cove didn't seem to appreciate her phrasing. But with the plan decided, all three parents waved and headed for your house. It was just you teenagers now. Elizabeth looked at you and the others, a curious expression on her face.
So?
You silently wondered if Elizabeth only stayed out with you to avoid getting roped into work. Then again, she could just genuinely want to hang out. You couldn't tell with your sister. Ko spoke up after no one else did to answer Elizabeth's question. Want to go down to a shopping street? It's been a while, and I don't think there's a lot of other things we could agree on. Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
Sounds awesome to me. Unlike you guys, I haven't been there 1,001 times. It's new to me. Let's do it. You strolled across the road as a group, down to the beach, inland to the left. It took less than 15 minutes to arrive, one of the conveniences of Sunset Bird. The four of you looked around the familiar shops, trying to see if anything caught your attention this time. Derek was the most enthusiastic. He checked out every stall with his eyes wide of wonder. Elizabeth and Cove were in good spirits as well. That's so cool! He ran over to a street magician who was currently doing a card trick for a group of enchanted tourists. Derek clapped when the magician showed a middle-aged man in his card. Derek turned back to the group with a curious gleam on his face. What does it take to perform here anyway? Do you have to ask somebody, or do you just show up and start doing stuff? Who would you even ask? It's a public street. Hey, Miss Mayor, can I pull a rabbit out of my hat? Please, Flopsy is well behaved, I promise. Derek chuckled, his eyes searching up and down the scene.
Maybe?
Maybe there's a boss of the shopping street? No one does any of this around my neighborhood. It's just regular stores behind walls. It's different if someone wants a real store, but here, I'm pretty sure people are just putting on their little shows whenever they want, and do whatever. That's so great! Will we be allowed to do something too? Cole laughed, and Derek began almost vibrating with excitement. Elizabeth rolled her eyes. What would we do? Well, I don't know what. Not yet. I mean, I just found it's a possibility, you know? But there's gotta be something. We know cool stuff. I'm sure if we think about it, we could plan a show that'd really get a crowd pumped. You thought there were need to abandon that bad idea stat. You gave a look to the other two. Derek continued to brainstorm out loud about different potential performances while you glanced over at Cove and Elizabeth. I mean, I can bounce a soccer ball on my head. Last time I tried, I got 8 bounces before I fell. I wouldn't bring a ball here.
Why?
Why not? Cove gestured to everything around. The stalls, the people, all the colorful chaos that made up the shopping street. Would you want to chase a lost ball here? And what if it hit somebody? Even if you're good, someone else could bump into you. That's true. Derek thought about it some more. Then he watched another performer, a woman doing tricks with 2 small dogs. One was fluffy and cream-colored, while the other was a cool gray. The woman held up rings. Both animals jumped through the openings, happy to receive a treat at the end. Derek brightened. Maybe I'll teach crabs how to race. Crabs? It could work. With some amusement, the gang continued to peruse the stalls. Elizabeth found some earrings with a dangling, badly misprinted globe that everyone laughed at. Cove picked out a blob as Iceland, but Derek thought that it had to be Greenland. You know this is a world of what looks like 9 continents? I think you're both wrong. No, it's Australia. The other 3 giggled at your interjection. Suddenly, Cove froze. You stared at him, then tried to see what caught his attention. When you saw a familiar face down the way, it all made sense. Between the crowds, his bright hairstyle like a neon green bowl in the kitchen sink. It was Jeremy. Jeremy slowly drifted his eyes down the street, and his eyes widened in mutual recognition. He definitely noticed you. Derek frowned, and Cove sighed. Neither of them were happy to see him again. I will look away and pretend I see nothing. I didn't want to even start with Jeremy's shenanigans today. Elizabeth raised an eyebrow. Her gaze swept over Jeremy without a hint of a clue. Jeremy simply scoffed to himself and waded deeper into the crowd of people. Derek relaxed and exhaled loudly. I'm glad he's not going to start anything. He peeked over at Elizabeth with a tiny smirk. See? That was the mean kid.
What?
Huh? She still didn't get it. That first summer day hadn't made nearly as much of an impression on her as it did for Derek, but he smiled and waved it off. Just forget about him. I already have. He laughed, and Ko smiled lightly. He seemed in a much better mood now that Jeremy was gone. Your eyes wandered over to where Jeremy disappeared. You hadn't forgotten the day you met him either. He was only going to be in town for a vacation with the parents he hated. That glimpse was probably the last time you would ever see him. I'll keep it to myself. Elizabeth snapped her fingers in front of her face. Apparently you had spaced out. Cove and Derek were already at the next stall. Come on, unless you want to get left here. You nod and caught up with the others. Ko raised an eyebrow. What were you thinking about? Nothing. He gave you a searching look. The lead dropped when Derek yelled at you to go check something out. You couldn't help but wonder, though, what would have happened if you would have interacted with Jeremy more. You were glad that you wouldn't find out. Jeremy was unlike anyone you had ever met before. You thought he was stupid. You thought he was kind of pitiful. You and the group moved on from the stall and from Jeremy. It didn't take long for everyone to return to the joking. You all enjoyed what little time you had left, as Elizabeth mentioned the hour was almost up. The little trip had flown by, and lunch must have been waiting for you now. Derek bounced on the balls of his feet.
Okay.
Come on, guys, let's get going so we can eat. I'm starving. Homebound, here we go. Ko stretched one of his arms lazily. Let's go, Lynn. He looked at him appraisingly. Nah. Then you followed Elizabeth as she took it upon herself to lead the way home. She walked fast, much faster than Derek preferred. She kept gaining a lead, and then Derek would jog back up to the group. Of Ko's long legs, he had no trouble keeping up. Yeah, let's stay behind with Derek. He gave Derek some company, which made him brighten up considerably. He brought up his idea of trying to make up a performance again, and you listened to his plans. For the most part, you could tell he was being silly on purpose, but there was a shine in his eyes. You both got so engrossed in conversation that you didn't notice how far you'd fallen behind your sister until Cove looked over his shoulder and shouted something. Derek grinned at you and then tried to make it a race to catch up with Elizabeth. It was a pleasant walk home, and in no time you had made it back. Derek got the front door and held it open for everyone as you each moseyed inside. The three parents were still in the kitchen. He looked up and waved. Welcome back, everyone. He made it just in time.
Hey!
I hope you're hungry. So, did everyone have a nice time out? She gestured for people to take a seat at a table. Plates and silverware have already been placed out. You took your normal seat. Elizabeth sat across from you, and Derek took the seat to your left. Ko sat on your right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we had a great time. It was fine. It was nice. Yeah, the bank heist went off without a hitch. Your joke got some chuckles going around the table. That's good in my book. Casually, Mr. Holden sat in the empty seat across from Cove. He smiled at you and all the other kids. Mom set down a platter full of water glasses on a table. She looked down at the gathering. It's a good thing we have 8 chairs. I can't remember the last time we've had a group this big over for a meal. Can you pass the drinks down to the other side? Make sure y'all get one. Sure. Those close to the cups obliged and started offering waters around. As everything got set up, Ma chided Elizabeth to take her elbows off the table.
No.
And you shouldn't slouch. She pointed to Mr. Holden, who was leaning forward with both arms on the table. Whoops. Mr. Holden seemed unsure about all the sudden attention and carefully rearranged his posture as something suitable for a fancy dinner. He smiled sheepishly at Ma. Elizabeth rolled her eyes, and Ma gave a level look at her. You shouldn't be impolite to a guest in the house either. Elizabeth groaned, long and long-suffering. Ma giggled, and Mr. Holden chuckled.
Not
A lot
bad.
of you could learn a thing or two from Derek. He has the best manners here. Derek blushed, but it was true. His posture was upright and formal. He even held his fork gracefully. His table manners on top of all his attempts to aid her parents made him the model of meal attendee behavior. Aww, he's so cute. It's true though, you have been a lovely guest. I've noticed that too. It's always nice when you stay over, Derek. Derek smiled and sat a little taller in his chair. And do you have anything good to say about our other guest? She looked deliberately at Ko with a teasing smirk, or is there just nothing to say? Well, Ko is my number 1, but he does still clean his hands by wiping them on his pants. Ko frowned at that and absentmindedly brushed his hands on his pant legs. Your mom's laughed lightly.
There.
Elizabeth, you should know, after all these years, Ko is hardly a guest anymore. Ko smiled awkwardly. Thanks. I'm not gravitating towards any of these. Let's see. No, let's keep quiet. The parents have made an excellent. You took another bite and mind your business. Everyone ate their meal together and continued to hang out for the afternoon. After the food, you and the others played a couple games and talked about plans for the upcoming year. The time passed by quickly, and soon it was time to part ways. Mr. Holden talked to your moms, and Cove drifted over to you, knowing that as soon as his dad finished up, he would be leaving. It'd be cool to stay, but we have some stuff to do before everything closes today.
Okay.
Yeah, bye. Could you move? I need the phone. Cove raised an eyebrow, and Elizabeth impatiently gestured behind him. Cove realized he was standing right in front of where the receiver was placed. He sidestepped out of the way and shook his head, clearly thinking Elizabeth was rushing too much. Your sister made a beeline for the phone and started dialing the number of what you figured was one of her friends. Knowing Elizabeth, she was going to be on there for a while. You, Cove, and Derek shuffled closer to the door. It seemed like Mr. Holden was wrapping up his conversation, so everyone started saying their various farewells.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, see you. Cove turned to you and smiled slightly. Bye, Rosie. Nudge. You elbowed Cove's shoulder playfully. I'll see you later. Cove nudged you back without hesitation. He cocked his head to the side. Yep, guess so.
Dude.
Haha. Aww. You offered Cove a high, whoa. A high five, and the two boys clapped their hands together. Cove and his dad left soon after that. Your parents started cleaning up the house. Elizabeth was still chatting to her friends on the phone. It was just you and Derek left. He elected to stay outside from the house to wait for his dad to pick him up. He decided to keep your guest company, although he was originally Cove's visitor. A light summer breeze blew through your hair, and Derek shifted his weight from foot to foot. Thanks for waiting with me. He kicked at the ground, distractedly.
Well...
Dad's still gonna be a while, so do you want to go for a walk? Sure, I don't mind. The two of you walked down the street again, just wandering about a destination planned. It was a quiet stroll, too quiet for Derek being the company. You turned to him when you had noticed that he wasn't saying a word. That was unusual. Derek always had something you could chat about. You weren't sure if you should ask about it. Somehow you ended up at the old park near the bench. You glanced over to Derek once more, still expecting him to say something any second now. However, nothing came from him. In fact, now he noticed a frown creeping on his face. Derek smiled when he realized you were watching. At least his mouth was turned up. There wasn't anything that really felt happy in the expression. He turned away, and a smile fell off his face. His eyes stared intently at the ground, and you raised an eyebrow. Is everything okay? I'm a little sad. It's just with school starting back up again, it's gonna be harder to visit. I'm gonna have homework and clubs and practices and everything else.
This sucks.
It really sucks we go to different schools. His face screwed up and his fists were closed tightly together. This is really concerning him. But we don't have time. I am not an optimistic person, so I will share those worries. I was thinking about that too. We've hung out so much this summer, it's gonna be really different not seeing you around as much. Derek looked up at the sky. It was orange and purple with little wisps of clouds scattered around. A plane flew high with a jet stream trailing behind it. Then he turned to the ground again. Derek's face was tilted far enough down that it was hard to read his expression. Hey Rosie, I actually want to talk to you about something, if you don't mind. There was a pause, and you waited for him to finish his thought.
Sorry.
I was just kind of wondering, do you like guys at all? Like, would you ever want to be with someone who is a boy? Sorry if that's weird to ask. Maybe? Okay, then... He hesitated before finishing his question. Yes?
So...
what I mean is, is there any guys you think is kind of cool that you like around here, not at school or anything like that? Oh, he's so cute! He ducked his head further, he thought about it. Oh, he's so cute! Mr. Holden! the neutral option. Oh, but if we choose I like you, would that lead him on? Aww. Well, let's be honest. Well, I like Hope. Derek chuckled and didn't look at all surprised. Yeah, I kinda thought so. That's cool. I really hope things work out. Thanks for answering my random questions. He shot you a thumbs up. I hope we'll always be friends, no matter what. Even if we don't see each other for a long time, or if we get really busy, I still hope he cut himself off and met your eyes. There's something serious to him, sincerely worried that you'd fall out of friendship. And then I remember what happened with Hsialu. Oh no. I hope so too. I want us to be friends forever. Derek smiled, mostly to himself. He seemed a little more like the usual. Then for sure, we have to make the most of next year. Then the year after that, and the year after that. He rambled on for a while about things. We'll just make the most of every year. Right. He smiled and felt like your friendship was still strong. You didn't spend much longer at the park after that. Derek didn't want to miss his dad, so you both made your way back to your street. After Derek went back home, you decided to settle in for the night, stretching your arms over your head. You noticed that the living room and the phone were free. I'll take it easy. Phone calls make me nervous. You flopped onto the couch and wiggled until you were positioned just right, and you knew when it was perfect, because all the exhaustion from the day started fading away. Sighing contentedly, you were pleased with this end to the day. Looking at the clock on the wall, you saw there was only about 10 minutes until your moms would be insisting you had to go to bed, so you could be rested enough for school. You stretched your legs out on the couch and sighed in defeat, watching the minute hand change 1 minute closer to bedtime. You rearranged yourself, feeling restless, and looked out the window. Startled initially, you spotted a figure out in the hills. It was Cove. When the surprise faded, you realized it really wasn't that much of a shock at all. It was exactly something Cove would do. Smack the window to get his attention. Let's go outside. Strolling casually, you went over to the front door. When you arrived, you noticed how many fireflies were out that night. They drifted along lazily, barely minding your presence as you waded through to reach the top of the hill. Cove turned towards you as you approached, and you noticed right away that Cove looked happy to see you. Hey, you had a bounce in your step. You weren't sure how long you'd get before your moms roped you back inside for bed. Hey, what are you doing out here?
Nothing.
He shrugged, seeming unhappy with his own answer. You stared at him, waiting for him to continue. Well, I guess I was feeling kind of weird about stuff, so I'm getting some fresh air before bed. That's just an odd. His mouth pulled into a bent smile. Cove let himself fall back onto his butt, and then all the way down, so he was laying on his back. He looked up at the sky. He sat on his chest! Let's just sit down in the grass. You lower yourself to sit nearby. You haven't lost in thought, or was possibly waiting for you to situate yourself, but you start speaking unprompted again.
I'm sorry.
He's surprised, you stare at him a moment. You weren't expecting that. I just want you to know that I talked to my dad about how I felt and things. It's okay now. You were genuinely glad to hear that, and it brought a small smile to your face. Your thoughts quickly wandered back to the first day you met Mr. Holden. Did his dad confess about that? From the way Cove talked to you, yes he hadn't. So there was more Cove and his dad to talk about, but it was a relief to know that they had made a start. Now is not a good time to bring up whatever you were thinking, though. You could wait longer to say it. It was almost unbelievable how much of an impact you made on your life, just by moving in next door. You couldn't even imagine what your days might have looked like in a world where you hadn't met him. Cove glanced back at you, waiting for a response. You had no idea what to say. Cove just stared at you unblinkingly. What? It's you. Huh? You snickered before answering. He looked thoroughly amused at your reaction. That's what you do all the time, so I'm being you. You do that all the time too. I don't know, actually. I mean, he's a sprite character. Yeah. Who couldn't help but grant that. Honestly, there weren't many people we could think of who could tease you about something like that. Returning his smile, you realized there was no denying that you two had been around each other for a long time. Cove broke the quiet before it could fully settle.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you then. With a final wave, Cove headed for home, but you stayed there a few minutes longer. Your mind kept going back to a simple statement. See you tomorrow. No matter how much was changing around you, there were some things in your life that always seemed to remain true. The hills felt warm to you that night. Before you knew it, you were getting comfortable under the covers in your room. Your mind couldn't help but still be buzzing with thoughts about the future. You felt... These are all valid. I filled. What do I think about the future? Unsure. A new chapter of your life was about to begin, and no one could say what it was going to be like. Slowly, your eyes grew heavy as you drifted off to sleep, your mind spinning with wishful thoughts. No matter what happened next, you could only hope that you would make the most of it. You were ensnared in a dream when a noise from the outside world jostled you. Noises happened, you just try to forget it. Your eyes snapped open. The light clatter continued. Now that you were more alert, you could distinguish it as a tapping sound. Quiet, slow, but persistent. Oh no, we are making this a habit, aren't we? Each beat was like being poked. You couldn't ignore it. You lifted your head from the pillow and looked for the source. Not much work was needed to puzzle it out. It was from the window. With that, you knew exactly what it was. When the color of the light filtering into your room, it was too early for anyone to be awake, including the sun. It had barely held itself over the horizon. But that didn't stop some people, it seemed. You sat up in bed and opened the window wide. Cool air, not yet warmed by the day, tickled your face as it pushed into your room. And just as you expected, there was your neighbor crouching on your windowsill. He was fully dressed, though not for school. He was wearing a wetsuit and a shy smile. Hi, Rosie. You stared back, blinking. So technically we won't be back to school for a few more hours. His voice was delicate yet deliberate, each word a careful explanation. Classes haven't actually started yet, so do you want to hit the beach with me one more time this summer? Here we go again. It's way too early. Go. He is cute, but we'll keep that to ourselves. Here we go again. Your comment's half-hearted and you both knew it. Only Cove would think of something like this, and that was part of what made him special to you. Cove chuckled conspiratorially, his smile widening. You rushed to get changed into something suitable while Cove climbed back down to ground level. Your limbs, still half asleep, struggled somewhat as you attempted to coordinate them into a swimsuit, but you got there in the end. Soon you were tiptoeing out of your front door, clutching a towel. Cove was already there to greet you. Your eyes met. Cove's gaze darted to your destination and back to you. You checked the doors closed, gave him a thumbs up, and the two of you leapt into action. Wordlessly, you began to run down the familiar path ahead, Cove beside you. The thrill of your illicit outing made you want to laugh. Not that you dared. If anyone in your family looked out and saw you when then your summer would be back to being over. One glance at Cove told you that he was exactly the same, holding back snickers for fear of being heard and caught. The towel streamed out from under your arm like a cape. You were running so fast, downhill, that simply keeping your balance and not tumbling down was a real threat. It just wasn't enough for one to make you slow your pace. For every step you took, the beach was a little closer, and the day a little brighter. What lay ahead for you would arrive, and you were happy to meet it. Alright, fine, let's add the rosy cheeks. Wait, where is the rosy cheeks? Oh, there we go, the rosy cheeks. Alright, let's add the rosy cheeks. Is there anything else? Oh, there's a new page. There's a new page. A ring! I don't usually wear rings, so... Nail limp, short nail color. Let's have... Is there pink? Is there pink? There is pink! Let's have pink nail color. I don't usually wear nail polish, but who cares? Okay, and we are done. What does direct versus relaxed mean, though? Can we know direct, relaxed? No? Oh, we can move it up to love now. Huh, she has a double blush right now. That's kind of... it's kind of... I don't know how to feel about it. Yeah. Let's move it up since we can, because we can. Direct? Are we direct? Are we direct? No? Really? Does it matter? Actually? Yeah, let's choose direct, might as well. Direct love. relaxed love, nervous love. Nervous sounds cute, actually. No, I am not. Nervous love, relaxed love, direct love. Yeah, yeah. I wonder if that. I wonder how that would affect it. But direct, relaxed, nervous. I can't believe I'm stuck on this one, on this part. We haven't tried direct yet. Yeah, we haven't tried direct yet, but no, I wanna see what happens if you put nervous love. No, relaxed love, nervous love. Yeah, let's try nervous love. Yeah, what does direct even mean? What is direct, like, what is the difference between direct and relaxed? Like, is direct just like would she act more like Elizabeth or something, you know, like, I wouldn't say rude, but like, would she be, you know, more direct? Would she just, you know, be more straightforward, I guess. But, I don't know. But then, I don't know. Yeah, let's try nervous. Let's try nervous. I'm gonna save this. We're like definitely going to save this. But yes. And we will let him grow naturally. Oh, tutorial time. Since you're romantically interested in Cove and are old enough to start being physically affectionate more seriously, you can choose what initiative level he has throughout this step. Make sure the player experiences what they want is important in our life. But always putting your choice first can potentially make a relationship feel one-sided. So we've asked some flexibility in how it works out. Low initiative means that Cove will occasionally ask to touch the MC, and in low situations there will always be an opportunity to say yes or no. Good, consent, that's what I'm talking about. For example, he won't simply lean over yes and kiss MC as agreeing or in an emotional moment. Every piece of physical interaction will be either initiated or approved by the player before it happens. Yes! Middle initiative means there will be those certain times when Cove requests to touch the MC. Many chances to initiate affection on your own, and also he will pretty regularly give affection automatically. Oh, okay. One example will be giving the MC a kiss because he's happy, or emotional, or something else. Oh, I see. And in other situations, you can choose not to make the first move in order to give Cove the space to be the one to act afterwards. Overall, a love interest can get romantic, but the player's agency will take priority. High initiative includes everything Metal does, but it also means that player agency will be reduced to a degree in favor of having Cove give physical affection even more frequently with less prompting. Instead of all the major affection-giving situations being led by a choice menu for you to decide on, some will instead be replaced by Cove acting automatically. This level is only recommended if you're very comfortable with physical affection and would prefer to simply see it happen rather than always holding the reins on it. However, this level is mostly relevant if Cove ends up as your official boyfriend at some point. Situations where high-level initiative makes a difference tend to come up in scenes that are exclusive to being in a relationship. The parts are also included in the middle initiative, which will be seen whether you're dating or not. What? Wait, let me reread that part. Technical scenes that are exclusive to being in a relationship. The parts are also included in the middle initiative. Oh, okay. Once you pick your level, it can't be changed partway through a step. The choice only comes up at the very beginning of a story section. We hope you enjoy whichever initiative option you decide on. Which would you like Code to have for step 3? Middle. Alright. Well, actually, let's save that. Actually, I think this might be a good time. I think it might be a good place to wait, I saved, right? Yes, I did save. Yeah, I think this might be a good time to pause for a sec. Because we have a whole other step and an epilogue, I believe, to go through. And it's been like 3 hours. Ugh. Yeah, it's been 3 hours, so we will try to finish this another time, another stream. Next week on Thursday, probably. because on Tuesday we will be continuing Serenity's Secret Agent Adventures. Like, please remember to give Nanao a warm welcome back from her break. I assume we will start the stream at 8 p.m. for my time, but do double check the schedule when it comes out, and that's going to come out on Sunday for me. And yeah, I'm sure like most people need to go to sleep by now or go do other stuff, so thank you for dropping by for the stream. I hope to see you again next week for the collab. For now, goodbye until our next daybreak.